Key Points, and my name is Abna Tabi. It is a pleasure to be coming your way once more this Saturday with another episode of the Key Points. And as usual, we're coming to you live from the studios of TV3 here in Accra. We're also live on 3FM 92.7, online at 3news.com, and also on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. It is the 10th day of July 2021, and we're here to look at issues that made the headlines during the course of the week, issues that have to do with national concern, and we are indeed going to be talking about these. We'll start off, indeed, there's a lot to get to on the show this morning. We'll start off with a look at the NDC March for Justice. Now, this week, precisely Tuesday, the 6th of July 2021, the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, led a demonstration in Accra under the theme March for Justice. And the demonstration ended with petitions being submitted to the Jubilee House and Parliament House. We will be interrogating on the show this morning the issues which, according to the NDC Youth Wing, necessitated this demonstration. We'll turn attention to matters coming from the quarters of ADRA, particularly looking at the three-member committee hearings that started this week. So the three-member ministerial committee set up to look into the circumstances leading to the events, unfortunate events, I must say, of the 29th of June 2021 in ADRA, started their hearings this week. Now, the committee, which originally had 10 days to submit its report, requested and was granted an extension of their working period from the 9th of July 2021 to the 16th of July 2021. So if they were sticking to their initial schedule, they would have had to submit their report yesterday, 9th July. But of course, they've been extended. They've had their period extended, and so they have to do that by Friday next week, the 16th of July 2021. Now, several people have given their testimonies to the committee. They include the District Police Commander, the MCE, the Commanding Officer of the 4th Battalion, the Deputy Regional Police Commander, members of the media, and many others. Now, on the show this morning, we shall be looking at events unfolding at the ADRA Ministerial Committee hearings, but also we'll touch briefly on issues, these particular two issues that are dominating headlines as well, which is the $28 million MP card loan, and also the issue about allowances to be given to sitting spouses of presidents and vice presidents, and that is what we'll be looking at this morning. Allowances given to spouses of sitting presidents and vice presidents, and the hula value that it has cost. We shall be interrogating the propriety or otherwise of these recommendations that was made by the Presidential Emoluments Committee. These are the topics we've tabled for conversation this morning. As usual, it's going to be thought-provoking, exciting, and stimulating. You don't want to miss any part of the conversation. We encourage you to stick and stay with us. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I will introduce to you our first panelists for the conversation. See you shortly.
For over 20 years, Chemo has gone the extra mile to beautify homes across Ghana. We offer a wide variety of world-class bathrooms, tiles, kitchens, and interior finishing, giving customers the peace of mind they need to relax and create their dream spaces. We assure you of unbeatable offers, expert advice, and premium customer care. Locate our showroom on the Spintex Road, close to Manette Junction, or call 0900 200 000. Follow us on social media at Chemo Home. Chemo, relax, dream, create.
Impressor oil na capsules kura ahwode nnura eboa eyi yawa enam sasabro usisi wachiri bremo ne afi waposo nyina free ni padua no mu. Impressor capsules kura ahwode a etumi boa esiesie no mpa eho akokwa nia entokuntokro dedemu ene afi waposo gregira awewie no nyina esiesie no ema no ahwode mfoforo kura wo pe adura wo betumi de wo ho atoso na ayi wo honamu ya wo nyina ade a any impressor ne edura wara owo yefuniade mpo etumi no mbie se onom impressor capsules now the impressor oil twitwibia eye oya no a ene ne wato adi ya obedwane entem so kra ope impressor capsule ne oil ibia to a ko pharmacy licensed chemical shop ana herbal shop a ebe wo atufom frɛ Iona Pharmacy Limited or 0553 134 185 and 0243 123 224. Impressor Yao Big Johnny. This advert is FDA approved.
I feel at home whenever I'm in front of the camera. It reminds me of the time when I was a little boy. I used to entertain my family.
After all, it's our story. For the best of your original dramas, telenovelas, and sports, get your GoTV decoder, GoTenna, and a month of GoTV Plus for as little as 109 CDs. Download my GoTV app to easily manage your account on the go. GoTV. Love it.
We embarked on a journey through the various zones of Ghana in search of a beauty queen, the one that stands tall amongst the others, a worthy queen in oratory, cultural value, beauty, and hidden abilities waiting to be discovered.
Let us know who you are.
I'm beautiful, you cannot see. I'm very confident.
They amazed the judges, threw them in awe with their convincing performances.
When the person brought me, I grabbed the knife and I stabbed him 5 times. When tomorrow comes, tomorrow comes.
The laughter. The shock.
You want this to go out on air?
The joy.
We've made it to the next round.
Bye-bye.
The emotional and wow moment.
Mommy, oh, you can't do this to me. Wake up.
Warrior, the only was once I born, and I know I born, so no other born after the after Santa.
Wow, that's interesting.
And this is just a step to what is to come. It will only take hard work, determination, and focus to attain the enviable position, the prestigious crown. Ghana's most beautiful, rediscovering true beauty. And now it is time for the grand launch of GMB 2021. It's time to unveil the 16 beautiful ladies representing the 16 regions of Ghana in a pure mix of culture and glamour. Live this Sunday, 11th July at 8 p.m. on TV3 and on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. Africa and the world. Are you ready?
GMB 2021 is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Carex, GTP, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel, Gino Max and Gino Pepper and Onion, and supported by
The Saturday mornings will never be the same again.
We will bring you the best mix of sports and lifestyle content on Warm Up Plus.
We will interview exciting professionals from different fields of endeavor, including sports and fitness. Give fans an opportunity to show their passion and preview upcoming games.
Discuss what's trending in the world of sports and entertainment, give you lifestyle tips, serve you music, exercise, dance, laugh, and have an absolute ball on TV each Saturday.
So whether you're a fan or you just like fun,
you will absolutely love Warm Up Plus.
Warm Up Plus shows live Saturdays at 10 a.m. only on TV3.
Yes, hello, and if you're ready for the house party, over to you.
Let's do this. Hey!
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Priscilla Asiero. A round of applause for Celestine Duncan. This can only be favor.
Classic music shows every Saturday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. This is the Key Points live on TV3, also live on 3FM 92.7, online at 3news.com, also Facebook at TV3 Ghana. So I'll quickly introduce the panelists for this part of the conversation this morning. From my extreme left, we have Mr. Edem Agbana. He is the Deputy National Youth Organizer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Next to him, we have Mame Awenado Kanyarige. She is a consultant with the Black Bridge Consulting Group. And last but not least, we have Mr. Richard Nyama, Deputy Director of Communications with the NPP. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to have you.
Good morning, Abba.
Great. So we will be moving on to look at the issue about the NDC March for Justice. But before that, we will like to touch on two issues that are also making the waves in the media space, talking about the recommendation that spouses of sitting presidents and vice presidents be given allowances. Indeed, this recommendation, this recommendation was made by the Intiamwa Beidu Presidential Emoluments Committee that sitting vice presidents and presidents should have their wives given allowances. Indeed, their allowances have been pegged at the level of cabinet ministers, and indeed it has caused a lot of debates. Several conversations have been had around it. We'll listen to Professor Bafo Ajimendia, former senior UN governance advisor, speaking to Jifa Bampo on this issue, and then we'll come to our panelists in studio for their reactions briefly on this matter, and then we'll move on to also look at the issue about the $28 million car loan being proposed for MPs, also another issue that has caused lots of controversy in the space here, and we will be touching on that briefly. But before that, let's listen to Professor Bafo Ajimendia as he takes his bite on the issue about allowances for spouses of sitting presidents and vice presidents.
No, since the beginning of the Republic, that all first ladies do expend on the public expenditure. We know that. So if we want to formalize, then we have to find a proper way, because the Constitution prescribes individuals, personnel of the government or the public service who must be salaried. I don't think that includes the first lady or second lady. But at the same time, I also recognize that these individuals do deserve some kind of allowances, and I believe they've been paid allowances all along. What I didn't know is that now they are going to be put on salaries, and salary implies that somebody is appointed to perform specific functions. As we sit here, I do not know the terms of reference for the appointments. If indeed they've been appointed, is it as first ladies or as what? So what is troubling for me is apparent lack of first transparency in how this whole process came about, and more importantly, how we are giving them salaries instead of, say, allowances, when in fact they are not covered by the constitutional requirements of Article 71.
What would then be an approach to either codify the receipt of salaries for the first and second lady?
You use the right term, codify them. If in fact we want to place them on salaries, then the procedure will be to have a bill debated at Parliament, and the proper constitutional measures taken, and formalize the salaries to be paid to them. But I still have a problem there, because you see, first ladies are not elected officials of the state. They are not appointed officials of the state. So I don't see under which framework we categorize them to give them salaries. In America, for instance, they do not give first ladies salaries. In fact, they give them allowances for good reasons, because first ladies keep offices. They have chief of staff, in terms of the American first lady, and a whole retinue of staff to service them. In the same way here, our first ladies, they play certain critical roles. They pick on certain social causes and work on them. Some provide hospitals, support for orphanages, and all kinds of things they do. So they do work. And that is why I'm saying they deserve some kind of compensation. Now, if you say salary and you are putting them on the level of cabinet ministers, then in a way you are making them cabinet members.
Should we identify and determine what is the job description?
In the first place, it will be very difficult to find specific roles because not all first ladies may be interested in such roles. But I'm not sure whether we should define for them. If you do that, then it's as if you are appointing them to particular offices. But you see, being a spouse of a president doesn't necessarily make you an employee of government. That's why I think we have to be careful how we define their roles. That's why I believe that allowances so defined may be the best option, which means that if you're a first lady, there's certain basic allowance that you deserve because you may be performing certain functions in the household of the president.
Right, so that was Professor Bafo Agyeman speaking there to Ajifa Bampo, expressing his views on the issue about paying first and second ladies' salaries pegged at the level of cabinet ministers. We'll be taking a brief look at that in studio. Let me start with you, Richard. Your thoughts on this? So apparently, you know, first ladies, second ladies are paid allowances, are given allowances, but now it looks like there's this, you know, attempt to formalize it, not just formalize the paying of allowances, but as Professor Bafo Agyeman distinguishes, pay them now salaries. And that obviously has raised issues because, like he asked in there, what exactly are they doing in terms of, you know, their job descriptions and everything to warrant the payment of salaries? And obviously, this is a question that borders on how prudently we put the public purse to.
Good morning to you, my co-panelists and the viewers. It's unfortunate, the turn of events, and I think to some extent it is some grand design and agenda to misinform, miseducate, and generally pollute the minds of the general public on this particular matter.
What's the misinformation?
And the media is culpable in this particular instance. You seem to be treating us to a cocktail of misinformation and miseducation.
Is that not coming from the report of the committee?
And to a large extent, outright lies. This is a copy of it. That whole document is a 113-page document. At no point have I seen anywhere written that salaries are to be paid to first ladies and the second ladies. Nowhere is it written in that. Have you seen it, Abna?
You make your statement.
Fortunately, you have the relevant portion here. So let me just read it for the general public. And then somebody should tell me where their salaries are stated here. The administration of President Kufuor introduced the extension of courtesies, including the payment of monthly allowances to spouses of former heads of state, presidents, vice presidents. Subsequent administrations have continued the gesture and even extended them to incumbent first and second ladies. The gesture remains purely humanitarian to support and to, in some cases, rehabilitate former first ladies who were evidently struggling to subsist. However, there is no legal basis for this support. Thus, the committee recommends that the support extended to spouses of presidents, former presidents, vice presidents, former vice presidents, be regularized and included in the privileges of president, former president, vice president, former vice presidents. It's an extension of the office of the president and vice president.
Now, are you saying that when the
this is what is written? Then let me.
Are you saying that when the Minister for Information was reacting to this issue, when he said that it's not the president who approved it, but Parliament, he didn't know what he was talking about?
I'm saying that this is the committee's recommendation. This comes to Parliament. Parliament adopts it at the committee level, and then they recommend it, and the thing passes. Now, I am so bemused that Ghanaians will prefer that we do this behind the scenes. We should let what was going on be done. Everybody admits that this has been going on. It started in 1993. Former President Rawlings. And if you don't mind, let me read what Mr. Atudazi, his chief of staff, then chief of staff.
Richard, let's not in dispute that
it's not
they were being given allowances.
Yes.
But to move them to the scale of cabinet ministers and to be saying that you're going to give them a salary is the issue that is up for conversation.
And that is where I have a problem with you. There is no salary stated here.
Are you saying that when the Minister for Information has had cause to respond to this, at no point did he indicate that the committee didn't make such a recommendation? I'm saying, are you saying that the Minister for Information did not know what he was talking about?
I'm talking to the source document, not what
this is just one part of it.
Yes.
This and
have you read what the Parliament passed? At no point in the parliamentary listing does it say salaries. If you have anything to the contrary, tell me.
And I'm saying paid the level of what cabinet ministers are taking, yes or no?
It was done under Nkrumah. It was pegged at the level of a deputy minister. So if they have elevated it to the level of a minister and you have a problem with that, that's what you should be looking at. My point is this. It has been done all these years, behind the scenes. Unfortunately, the immediate past former president made comments on this matter. And he indicates that the formalization of it has to find legal basis. And that, for me, is the point. Can he, for instance, point to Ghanaians? How much allowances were he paid to his wife as the first lady then? This seeks to regularize it, and then we all will know how much is going from that office to them. For accountability's sake.
Let me ask this
question. For probity's sake. We rather want to be in the darkness, and then if, let's say, a president or a vice president decides that he's paying 2 million to the wife through the office of the president, you and I have no idea how that is being done, how much it is.
Briefly before
and
I move
this
on
one seeks to bring clarity, and we have a problem with that. I'm shocked.
The question as to what exactly are we paying them for remains unanswered. What is it we're paying them for?
What were we paying them for?
I'm asking, what are we paying them for? The fact that it was done in the past does not necessarily mean that
I'm asking, what were we paying them for? The same document states that presidents and the vice president, presidents and vice president spouses in other jurisdictions are paid allowances and some benefits. Are we different from them? We are doing the same.
Of course, you can't compare your economy to other economies like that of the US and the UK.
Then
and those particular jurisdictions have different arrangements for their first ladies and second ladies.
We have the office of the first lady. We have the office of the second lady.
But those are not recognized by the Constitution, and that is the reason why there's this conversation.
Those are not recognized by the Constitution.
And they are coming under Article 71. They are not mentioned under Article 71.
It never stays under... you see, that's where I'm having the issue. The misinformation and miseducation. This whole thing I read, at no point in time did he say that it is coming under Article 71.
Okay, right then, let's do some education then.
Yes.
The committee was set up pursuant to Article 71 to determine emolument for Article 71 office holders.
And have you read?
And so,
have you read the content
Richard,
of the document?
To suggest that there's nothing about Article 71 in respect of this is highly inaccurate.
Listen, what I'm
but
saying
I need to move on.
No. Abna, you are putting me on the spot. Let me clarify that. I need to clarify that particular point.
Has been made.
It's not.
I mean, it's not in dispute. It's about Article 71.
No.
Let me move on.
I'm saying that under Article 71, under the office of the president and the vice, these are part of the president and the vice's benefits.
Is that what you're saying?
And that is
allowances.
Yes, and that is what this document is saying. It's being extended to the spouses.
And is that proper? Is the question that we are asking?
Proper? If you don't want the office of the president and the vice, let's condemn it.
Let me hear you on this.
And then have an anarchic state.
This whole those are unfortunate statements.
Yes.
Richard, you should. Why should we have an anarchic state?
So you think the president and the vice president, their wives, they have offices. They are running and receiving foreign dignitaries. They are doing work on behalf of the state. They shouldn't have anything. Who should sponsor that? If the state is not ready, I'm saying we should collapse those offices.
Very well. Let me have Edem's take on this issue as well.
Abena, good morning to you and good morning to my colleagues on the panel and to all our cherished viewers. I know we'll be talking about the demonstration, but this is my opening remark. So let me use your platform, the opportunity to thank each and every person who participated in the March for Justice, which was highly successful. I'm sure we'll go into the details later.
Yeah.
Abena, I am struggling, really struggling to understand where my brother Richard is coming from with his argument on this issue of the salaries that are expected to be paid to the presidential spouse. I am struggling because throughout the week, this matter has been in the media. We have spoken to it on various platforms. We have read the report, and even the information minister, who is the official spokesperson for the government, admitted that the committee, the Intiamwa Bedu committee, recommended the payment of salaries to presidential spouses. And he went further to blame Parliament and said Parliament had approved it and that President Williams Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had no option than to just accept recommendations of the committee. So for Richard to try and create an impression as though we just decided to smuggle this issue or topic for discussion without having basis for it is most unfortunate and smacks of dishonesty, because further calculations have even been made where we have been given the breakdown of the allowance and the salary, the basic salary that the first and second ladies are expected to receive if this process is carried through. So it is quite strange that Richard wants to make it appear as though we are bringing it up when there is no issue. Abena, I have read President or former President John Dramani Mahame's piece article on this particular issue, where he disagreed with the payment. But in his article, he also admitted that since the inception of the Fourth Republic, under the leadership of the late President J.J. Rawlings, we had an arrangement where some allowances were paid to first and second ladies. And that is because they keep offices. So we all know for a fact that we have office of the first lady, office of the second lady. They have staff members, people that work with them. We all know that they have engaged themselves in some social activities, though not constitutionally mandatory for them. They all pick up one or two issues or social causes that they embark on. So we all can recall that under the presidency of J.J. Rawlings, we all saw the role that Nana Konadu Agyeman Rawlings played. Very active role.
If you're admitting that, then why is the challenge with the arrangement being made formal?
I'm building a point.
Yeah.
If you would allow me land. So we saw the active role that Nana Konadu Agyeman Rawlings played. We saw the work that President Kufuor's wife, Madame Teresa Kufuor. We saw what Nadu Mills. We saw what Dr. Lordina Mahama and what Rebecca Akufo-Addo is doing today. And so we have seen these things and we know that they all play some role and they engage in some of these activities. But that arrangement, clearly, the payment of these allowances and support to their staff is from the monies allocated or funds allocated to the office of the president.
Yep.
So when you have Parliament approving an amount of money that the office of the president is expected to use within a year, and they decide that we are funding or part of these monies will be allocated to the office of first lady, second lady, and is done. These are purely informal arrangements that are made, and so that has been the system all this while. But when you are seeking to, what we are seeking to do with this particular recommendation from the committee, which President Akufo-Addo disappointingly has accepted, is that we are seeking to formalize and equate their offices to the office of cabinet ministers, because when you look at cabinet ministers, they fall under Article 71 office holders. Now, Article 71 of our constitution clearly defines who qualifies to be Article 71 office holder. And Article 71 further goes to tell us how salaries or emoluments for Article 71 office holders should be determined.
Yep.
And so, if you have the committee set up as a result of that Article 71, making a recommendation and they are determining salaries to be paid formally to first and second ladies, what it means is that the committee has found a way of smuggling first and second ladies' position into the list of Article 71 office holders.
Let me just come in there. You know that matter is currently before the court.
Yeah.
Whether or not what the committee did was, in contravention of Article 71. And so, in discussing it, let's be careful not to prejudice that. But of course, the propriety or otherwise of the arrangement can be discussed.
Yes.
So the constitutionality of which is before the court.
This is very fundamental.
Yes.
When you look at Article 71, it lists who Article 71 office holders are: President, Vice President, Cabinet Ministers, members of Parliament, and all of that, clearly defined. So the point is that when you are even beginning on the point of constitutionality, clearly the committee did not have that power.
Don't go there yet. That's what I'm saying. It's before the court to make a determination. Now, if you're making
but
this statement, you're being prejudicial.
We are not looking at whatever issues are in court.
No, but you see, the court is here to make a determination whether or not it was constitutional. That's what I'm saying. Let's be guided. Let's be guided. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Well, we are guided. But yes. I am speaking to what I can read from the Constitution.
No. And I would respectfully ask you to restrain from making prejudicial statements. You can go on and talk about the propriety and all, but as whether it was constitutional, I beg. Yes.
Having said that, in addition to the issues around its legality and its constitutionality, the second point is about the reasonability.
You can do that, yeah.
What is the reasonability? I mean, what justifies an attempt to formalize payment of salaries to first and second ladies?
Adam, let me interrogate something further. Yes. Okay, you've made your submission that they're good. You talked about the fact that yes, previously, whatever allocations were given to such offices, first lady, second ladies offices,
yes,
was from that which was allocated to the office of the president. Exactly, and it was up to the office to determine what goes where. Don't you think that arrangement would leave room for a whole lot of things to be done as to not knowing specifically how much is going where, as opposed to an arrangement that is formalized? And I'm not saying this salary thing, I'm endorsing it, but I'm just saying, if we admit that in the past, allowances have been given, and it's for a good reason, as you put it, talking about Nana Kunedu's, works and all up till this current First Lady, you're talking about that, yes, there was that allowances or that arrangement. At least we know that it was put to some use. Now the idea is, let's formalize it. And this isn't an attempt to say what they're doing is correct, but I'm just saying, looking at what was done in the past and what is being proposed now, perhaps there is some need to have that conversation about formalization, perhaps not under Article 71 or by a committee set up under Article 71, but perhaps there's some need for some formalization of it to avoid arbitrariness in how funds are managed. Don't you think that perhaps should be discussed at a certain level?
No, I still think, and I strongly believe that we cannot even have a conversation about formalization because...
So it should be left as it is?
Because I'm going there. The reason is that when Mr. A and Mr. B presents themselves to be elected for political offices and to become Article 71 office holders, they do not run on the ticket with their spouses. When they are elected, it is their office that the Constitution recognizes, and it is their office that the Constitution makes allocations to. So it doesn't matter who the individual occupying the office is. It is the office that is recognized by the Constitution.
Which office? The First Lady's office?
No, I'm talking about the presidents, the president vice. I mean, those who present themselves to be elected. Now, that office does not, and the Constitution does not, recognize officially the functions of the spouses. So, you can be a politician running a campaign, and I know many politicians whose spouses are clearly not interested in the work that their partners are doing. And so there are many top politicians in this country. They will go out, you will never see their wives on any platform with them. Now, if you establish and formalize it, and you have a situation where Mr. A is elected president, his wife is not interested in playing the ceremonial role of a first lady or a second lady, and yet there is a formal structure, it means that the person is entitled to the salary. So the person can even go to court and make demands that pay me salary, even when the person is not going to perform any such functions. But with this informal arrangement, the office of the president decides that we are going to embark on project A, B, C, and D. And this particular one, let it be handled by the office of the first or second lady. And so let's make this budgetary allocations for that job to be done. So at that point, it is left for discretion. But where you seek to formalize it, it means that people will be entitled to it. And for me, one of the reasons why I want us to even avoid discussion of formalizing this salary or so for first and second ladies is that it will open the floodgates. Tomorrow, another president may come who will decide that sons or children of the president and the vice president also play some roles.
Well, thank you.
And so because of that, if we have been able to do it for the first and second ladies, let's migrate them also onto a salary structure. And before you realize, extended family members, in-laws, and even who all be added to that list, and it is completely unnecessary.
Thank you.
We are in a time of austerity, and this salary matter should be aborted.
I'll do that. Very well. Mami, let me come to you, but before that, let me quickly make reference to a portion of the Ntiama Baidu Committee report, which talks about the fact that spouses of the president, that recommendation is payment of a salary equivalent to a cabinet minister MP as currently pertains. And it goes on to say that payment of a salary equivalent to 80% of salary of a minister of state MP if spouse served one full term as president, or 100% of salary of a minister of state MP if spouse served 2 or more full terms as president. And the figure allocated to cabinet minister MP for 2020 is 33,270 Ghana cedis. So this is coming from the Ntiama Baidu report. Mami, let me have your thoughts on this.
Salary equivalent.
Yeah, but it's still
salary equivalent is not the same as salary. Please, let's stop this miseducation. Salary.
Let me move to Mami.
Equivalent.
Richard,
the equivalent of a
please
salary.
Allow Mami to make her statement.
Let's get this clear. It's
Mami,
English,
you have the floor.
Let's be very fair to ourselves.
I don't know. I think it's like a lot of banter. I think is around whether it's semantics as to is it an allowance, is it a salary? Because obviously, if you're going to define salary, then it has to do with you're paying someone for work done, right? And so it's the thing of even two questions come up to me for the average Ghanaian who's processing all of this. So the whole time, people have been taking money then, allowances or whatever you call them, and nobody knows how much has been spent. First question that comes up. The second question is now the idea of what is the basis that's going to determine how much to pay the first or first lady or second lady, or even when they're out of office. So it's very tricky, and I think what makes it difficult now is that things are really hard. So sometimes even conversations get very difficult when people actually now even like people are earning 500 cedis a month. They can't even survive. Like the cost of living is so high. So during austerity measures, you have to also look at what are you introducing at the time? Because you're looking for people to be understanding. But then at the end of the day, it's also about compassion and empathy in the process. Because now things are really difficult. There's already, we already know that they're already borrowing heavily. And then, so it's a question of, okay, fine, you want to formalize an allowance, which, because there's already money being allocated, nobody knows how much it was anyway. Now, what is a basis? So the thing is about, if you're going to bring up these discussions, what is the criteria you're using to pay then? Because obviously, if you're going to pay somebody for wages, that is salary.
So that would require some formalization.
Yes, and so the big question is that then what are you formalizing the role? That means you're going to have to allocate tasks. And then have to, so all of these are big things that I feel like right now is that it's not necessarily, I think even beyond everything is, what is the priority right now? upside down in the country right now, and that is where really people are feeling like, because you know when things are really difficult, sometimes even the leadership, they take very hard. You take the hard decisions for the public, right? You tell us that we're going to increase tax, you're putting out these tight measures for you, right? So if you're doing that in the process, then what are the austere measures you are placing also on people in leadership? They are not feeling anything. You put all the burden on the people, and the money is going to come from where, please? If I have to ask. It's the people's money. So you have to understand the sentiment that is coming, whether you think is grounded or not. People are just upset, they are tired.
Right.
So I really feel like it's a little unfair to start talking about monies like this in a time where things are so hard. People are working hard and not getting any money. So that is really where I think, Richard, maybe is like, for the party's sake, there's some level of compassion for what Ghanaians are really going through right now, speaking about thousands of cedis when people can't even buy food. You understand what I'm trying to say? And this is like your leadership. It's like your parents coming to tell you that, hey, life is hard at home, right? So they tell the kids, look, from now onwards, you're eating only gari and pepper or something. Then you see your parents coming home with takeaway. What are you communicating to the kids? That at the end of the day, they don't matter, right? But even it's different because kids are not the ones making the money. Fine, maybe it's even unfair. But the money is whose money? It's the people's money. It's Ghana's money. So it is not so much. I think that like even in the discussion of being upset or people are talking about semantics and allowance, what is the big thing now? Life is very, very hard. And the people want to know that there is compassion. So that's the way I wanted to put Richard, that it's not even about, forget that all the semantics with salaries and allowance. People don't even get, not even any. People have lost their jobs. You see, so talking about money in this time like this, in a very entitled way, communicate something wrong, especially to people who are educated and have gone to school and are even working hard to even pay their workers and are not able to. And we are being told that we have to go for loans. We are trying to sell debt that our children will come and pay, our great-grandchildren will come and pay, and still be able to talk about things that are luxuries. Because obviously, in people's mind, the average Ghanaian who has a brain can see that the president or the first lady, the vice president, they're not struggling.
So, maybe you're raising an issue about the timing as well.
Yeah, it's very off.
Can I ask a question?
Quick point, and then we move to the MP loan, because the substantive topic here, is the NDC march.
Okay. So I get the sentimentality and the emotional aspect you bring to it. So currently, you have a mother and a father that bring home wache and kinky and pepper for you to eat, okay, because of the situation. But before they told you that, they used to go and eat at Kempinski. And they are telling you things are now hard, but they still go to Kempinski.
With your money, maybe it's even your money.
Hold on, and your analogy is what I'm coming on.
Okay.
So I'm saying that nothing has changed. The only thing is that now the Kempinski they are going, they are putting a cap to it. They are putting an amount to it, so that you, the children, will know that mommy and daddy cannot spend more than 100 cedis at Kempinski.
What if Kempinski is not realistic at this time?
How about scrap it totally?
No. That is my point. So if the idea is that let's scrap the whole office, let's scrap it, because it's not appropriate, it's illogical, they have no use. Let's scrap the whole thing, because it's been happening since Nkrumah's time.
Obviously, there's
that is
a
my
lot to
point.
talk about, but
and at Nkrumah's time, it was pegged at the vice, what do you call it?
Richard, that's
deputy minister's
question.
level.
Yes,
it's there. We are just pretending like ostriches in this country. It happened, and even in Achapon's case, they determined that, in actual fact, when you have two spouses, and Achapon has such a situation, how do you sort it out? They said that it is to the office, so the two of them have to pay the money. We need to educate people.
That's fine, Richard.
And this thing never says anything about salary. It actually allocates the money to the same office of the president and the vice.
Allow me to.
But this time, you would know how much the president is allocating to the wife.
I think that Richard's,
you have 1 minute.
Just 1 minute. Richard's difficulty is because, without any disrespect, he clearly does not know the difference between allowance and salary. Abena, from 2017.
It's because he understands, which is why he's saying.
No, I'm making a point.
he heard that it was salary, but I
it
read
is
something
there, and you read it out. And I'm saying that.
Salary
are you aware? Are you aware?
Salary
Are
equivalent
you aware
is not the
that
same as
even?
salary.
Are you
Richard,
aware?
please
Are you
continue.
aware? Because you see, Abena, from 2017, Rebecca Akufo-Addo and Samira Bawumia have been receiving this allowances
the
to
amount?
work. But as part of these recommendations,
Do you know the amount?
the committee is actually recommending, okay, or has recommended that if you are formalizing it, give them a back pay from 2017, which means that they are even going to receive, or they will be in the bracket of that jeopardy of double salary, because if indeed they have received the allowance for the first 4 years, now this committee is even recommending that give them a back
from
pay
2017.
From 2017. So clearly, allowances are just
and that is why I needed to read
based on
Nana
discretion.
Tudazi's
No,
response.
you see
Nana
what you are reading
wrote and told this country that
and
in actual fact he was put in charge by Mr. Rawlings.
I mean, he's the one that is interrupting. I kept quiet for him.
Was done by Rawlings.
Anyway,
we're
moving on next to the NDC match, and I will start with you.
But that is the point I'm making.
Fine.
You're talking about back pay. I'm saying that NDC did it. Nana Tudazi says I went round and paid them myself.
Let's proceed to look at the NDC match.
That was not formalized. So you don't want to know how much they are paying.
We'll take some clips from the scenes of the match on Tuesday this week, and then we'll come back to the panelists. Let's take a look.
The essence of this match is to send a clear signal to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the MPP government that look, we will no more take the murdering that is taking place under our security services. The intolerance that government officials are expressing, the fact that the government do not want even the good people of this country to express their opinion about the way governance is being delivered by the MPP government.
So we are asking that every one of them should be accounted for, whether it was during elections or whether it was during unemployment issues, people fighting for their rights, and so many people have died, have been killed, and we are asking that justice must be done. Those that need to be prosecuted must be prosecuted, so that it will serve as a deterrent. What about those who walked into the parliament? You understand? Those are all against our constitution, and we are demanding that justice must be served.
A commission of inquiries reports about happenings at Ayawa West Wugon. It should start implementing those reports, because that was an independent committee that was set up under his own office. When a minister of state sets up a committee under the watch of the minister, there is very little confidence from the public because of how previously the government has behaved. So what we are asking the government to do is that implement recommendations from the Ayawa West Wugon Commission's report. That is the Emil-Short Commission's report. And then restore confidence of the people. And let us believe that when atrocities of this nature happens, you are committed in investigating and punishing wrongdoing.
Tell me about by the end of the day today, what should have been your expectation and the achievements thereof by the end of this protest?
One, we are here to register our displeasure about happenings. So that is the first thing we want to achieve. To tell this government that the good people of this country are not happy with things that are happening currently under this administration. Going forward, we expect to see reforms in the governance structure and how he's administering this country.
It's been successful so far, all the way from the mall to this place. After here, what happened?
What do you mean by successful?
You tell me.
When we are dealing with this man, when we are dealing with Adolf Hitler.
But you have marched.
How successful will it be?
Much and
I say how successful.
And now you are presenting your petition.
That's why I'm saying that it will be successful if they stop killing the police, if they stop infiltrating into the police service and the military. It will be successful if the justice will be found with the people that are dead. It will be successful. But for now,
so what happens after here?
Chief is here. This organization started just about 2-3 days. We didn't even organize. We are going to organize. You know Idi Amin, I shall return. And now we have Idi Amin governing. So we shall return.
Are you hopeful of getting an audience from the presidency on the concerns you're facing?
I want us to insist on seeing the president himself. Yes, I want to insist that we must see him himself. Because you see, all the killings that are happening, we have not heard him talking. Is it that he's not in charge? You understand? We haven't heard the vice president. Is it that they are aware of it? Or he knows about it? I want to believe that the president knows about it.
Right, let me ask you specifically about the Ejura shootings, which some people say has crystallized into what you are seeing today. They've set up a 3-member committee. You do not have any hope in the committee that they will do a thorough job?
Chief, you remember Emil Shad Commission? Where is it? Can you answer? The president says he won't act.
It's a waste of time.
This one, you think he will act?
Waste of time.
It's waste of time. It's waste of our taxpayers' money.
Welcome back. So you saw some videos from the demonstration by the NDC Youth Wing, essentially marching for justice. They raise issues about the state of insecurity and lawlessness, public safety and security, growing loss of public confidence in the hierarchy of some security agencies. They also talk about state-sponsored brutalities and harassment against innocent citizens and many, many other issues. And at the end of the day, they submitted petitions to the Jubilee House and also Parliament House. 8 main points stood out from the petition. I will be running through that quickly. First, they're saying that immediately implement recommendations of the Emil Short Commission of Inquiry report forthwith, in particular pay compensations to all victims and direct the Attorney General to prosecute all culprits. Number 2, beyond investigating all acts of violence perpetrated by officers of the security agencies under your watch, ensure that all victims get justice as required by law. Victims of acts of violence from Ejura, Ablekuma Central, Ododo-Diodio, Banda, etc. must all not be denied justice. 3, make provisions towards providing decent jobs for the teeming youth of the country through proper structural economic reforms and business support for enterprises of young people. 4, ensure the safety and security of all Ghanaians. 5, stamp out corruption by prosecuting corrupt officials in your government other than shielding them. We ask that there is a fierce urgency to halt the hopeless nature of cronyism that has crept into the government. 6, take steps to fulfill campaign promises to the good people of Ghana and be respectful and truthful to the citizenry. 7, depoliticize the security services, introducing reforms to give true meaning to its independence. We charge that these reforms be led by experts in our country and not partisan appointees. Lastly, instruct the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice to improve the justice system and wean the judiciary of partisan political influence. So these are 8 pointers that was contained in the petition submitted to the Jubilee House. I will take some messages and quickly return to the panelists. This is coming in from Kwekun La Paz. It says, "Good morning, Abna. Richard is making me boil. I think our politicians are taking us for granted." Aziz Donline Wa says, "Setting a bad precedent for generations unborn is a historic blunder. Indeed, after making the country hot regarding taxes, increments in commodity prices, judgment debts, unemployment of the ordinary citizen, you still want to give over $74 billion old Ghana cedis to your spouses, Mr. President. If you want to really empower your wife, put her under NAPCO. Indeed, it's still fresh in up. Okay, I'm not sure those are quite clear. I can't read that. Abna, it says, "You're a lawyer, just call a spade a spade. It is unconstitutional to pay salaries to spouses of president and vice president. They should give us a break." That's Alhaji Haruna in Ashaiman. Osman in Tamale says, "A country where citizens are taxed to revamp a dead economy, while the leaders at the helm of affairs will be sharing the same tax revenue. How can you tell the citizens not to complain about your spending?" This other one says, from Intiama Committee report, it says that we should pay the salary of wives of both the president and vice president. The figure is 33,270 Ghana cedis for a cabinet minister, which is equivalent to what they will be taking home as salary every month. So, Richard, is it salary or allowance? That's coming in from Hajia Kupson, I believe. Let me take one more and then we can return to the panel. Why should the government give out $100,000 loans for MPs to buy cars? Okay, so you're going on to the MP conversation. I think I can put the brakes on the messages now. And Mami, let me start with you. You heard the 8 points, you know, if you like, the 8 demands made by the NDC youth to the government.
Right.
What do you make of it? In there, you have issues about security, there's corruption, there's unemployment, and there's a bit about, you know, ensuring that the justice system is effective and achieving its purpose and all. What do you make of this, these demands that the NDC youth have made to the government?
Right. The demands are, I mean, they're realistic, they're valid, because there are issues of security right now, the issues of unemployment, because obviously when things get harder, then obviously security issues become like more pertinent, and then also the issues of people feeling like their rights and even the sense of democracy in the country is being questioned, and all of these issues are coming up. So then they are valid. The big question now is, and I don't know, I have always held this thing that can one party alone, and when I say one party alone, not that we should have only one party, but can one party in government fix all the problems by themselves? And that's why I asked, like, even it's for the two parties that are sitting here, that to what extent, I know that typically because of how democracy is defined and the multi-party system is defined, we need to go with the flow. But let's say, for example, it's affecting us and it's killing us. Because the big question is that why not the two parties come together and say, you know what, where Ghana is now, things are tough. And we can see it. How do we work together to achieve these things as a team? Instead of who is doing what and who is not doing what, and then maybe who is emotional, who is not emotional. And it's like people are suffering the crossfire because you get to do that. You still get to go home to light, to water, to a comfortable life. And people sit there and they watch you argue as to who is right and who is justified, and they are suffering. So and this is to my two panelists here, that to what extent is the NPP and the NDC generally, if you really love this country, how willing are you guys to work together? Because I know that's one of the biggest things. Because Ghana needs to like take off. We are like really stagnant.
So then the NDC would say, well, that's why they are doing their job as the largest opposition, putting government on its toes.
Okay.
And obviously manifesting in the demonstration here.
Right.
Obviously speaking, they would say they're speaking for the masses,
right,
in terms of what they think the masses need.
Because that's what they've defined that opposition should do.
Yes.
And then they define that those in the party must now be put under pressure. And I think it goes back to definitions that kind of hem people in, and we are restricted. But what about the fact that maybe, you know, one thing, the MPP will be thinking, okay, NDC, what can we do together to really take Ghana to the next level? Because
constitutional reforms there, because the constitution that we have currently
doesn't allow for that.
Exactly.
And so it puts us in this state where people don't even trust sometimes the intentions of those in opposition, because the idea is that you're just doing what you have to do. So when you come into power, the next opposition will do the same thing. And it's like, it's the same cycle. For how many years? And people, we are suffering in the end. That's why I don't even subscribe to a lot of political ideas, ideology, because it insults the intelligence of people who spend so much to go and even do postgraduate degrees to come to Ghana. And then you cannot even, your business is stranded because you're not aligned politically. You see, so at the end of the day, people's houses even get finished. You know, when you are building a house, the house will be stagnant. Once their party comes to power, they can finish the house. So the system is being regulated by politics. That is very unhealthy. Because the same countries we go to for loans and actually even go and beg and stuff, despite the fact they have the multi-party system, things are working. And it's not as rigid as it is here, where we are so restricted. So I don't know, maybe, I don't want to put it out to the two men who representing two parties, that say they love Ghana, they care for us. Can you tell us, because you should tell us how, because yes, the consensus and everything raised is valid. But I don't think MPP alone can make this country, take Ghana to the next level. The work is too much. It's it's so systemic. One party cannot fix it. So I wonder, I just don't know. And if you're going to be honest, they all tell you the truth, that the MPP alone cannot fix Ghana's problem. So I don't know. I want to put it out to the two gentlemen to be hopefully to be honest.
Very well. Adam, So yes, going into the demonstration, a lot of issues,
Yes.
put out there. I
Yes.
indicated security, unemployment, brutalization of citizens, and a whole lot. You had a demonstration. How did that go? Do you think your objective was met?
Yes, Abena, our objectives as the organizers of the March for Justice were met. But even before I delve into the main issues of the demonstration, I think that you should join me to commend the organizers and all the participants for the peaceful and the orderly nature of the demonstration. We agreed on the route with the police and we maintained law and order. We took into consideration COVID-19 protocols. So clearly from the videos that you saw from the demonstration, so that almost everyone was in mask, was in their face masks. And that is not what we saw at the funeral of Sir John, how recklessly President Akufo-Addo, the Vice President, and all the top hierarchy of the government where they were there at that funeral. They allowed people to breach the protocols, and yet when other groups want to demonstrate, because I'm talking about the COVID, because they are using COVID to silence voices of dissent, and that is the reason why the Fix the Country advocates were not allowed to demonstrate. We decided to take the police on. We taught them that the EI that they were even relying on in their response to our first letter requesting or notifying them of our intentions to demonstrate, we clearly told the police that they did not know, or the EI that they were relying on was not even in use any longer, and we had the right to demonstrate. So after the back and forth with them, sanity prevailed, truth prevailed, and the law was on our side. So we had the opportunity to demonstrate. So I think we should first even congratulate the organizers, because in the morning, my national chairman, for example, brought about 3,000 face masks and distributed to people who left home without face masks and all of that. So the demonstrators, our conduct and everything was really peaceful, orderly, and we complied with the COVID-19 protocols. That must be commended.
All of that. Good job. Let's go into the meat of the issues.
The meat of the issues. The NDC is a major stakeholder in Ghana's democracy. In fact, we are the midwives of the Fourth Republic. We are where we are today, having quite a stable political atmosphere because of the decision that our tradition from PNDC to the NDC took, and that is why we have the Fourth Republic. So we have a major interest, we have a key interest in ensuring that we protect the democracy that we birthed in 1992. Abena, clearly from 2017 till today, President Akufo-Addo's governance and his style of leadership is built, grounded on lawlessness and injustice. Right from the seat of the presidency, we have seen members of this government engaged in activities that are contrary to our laws. But we have a system where it appears as though the police and sometimes even the judiciary are very selective in how they apply their rules. And so, as the major stakeholders, as the main opposition political party in this country, the youth wing of the NDC decided that enough is enough. Issues of insecurity, issues of injustice, issues of unemployment, issues of corruption, which has become a daily product of this administration. When they were coming in 2016, they promised one district, one factory. But what we have seen from 2017 is one day, one corruption scandal. So we decided that enough is enough. We wanted to have a public manifestation and drum home the point that, Mr. President, you ought to wake up to your responsibilities. Mr. President, Ghanaians are not safe. Mr. President, you must realize that we are getting to a point where this country's democracy is under threat. And that realization was further awakened by happenings in Ejura. And we, as the major opposition political party, believe that it is our responsibility to protect, to safeguard,
and to wake the president up from his slumber on issues of security. So we embarked on the march to raise issues about insecurity, the unemployment and corruption that have characterized this particular administration. And so we were very successful. In our 8-point demands, Abena, these are very basic demands that if you have leadership or a president who cares about their country, you don't even need opposition to tell you or to make these 8 demands before you even respond. Let's begin with the first one. After the Ayawaso West Wugon by-election and the attempt that they made, I mean, there was an attempt of a massacre. We all saw what happened. The use of the national security men, unprofessional, who were clothed in national security apparel, slapped MPs, shot at crowd, and we saw what they did. Mr. President responded to the calls of Ghanaians to institute an investigation into the Ayawaso West Wugon by-elections. The Emile Short Commission came out with a report. Mr. President, because what happened, because President Akufo-Addo clearly endorsed what happened during the Ayawaso West Wugon by-election.
I mean, you can't say that, Adam.
I will say that. I will tell you why.
What's the basis?
Yes, so I'm coming to that. The basis is that if President Akufo-Addo did not endorse the use of brute force and the brutalization that happened in Ayawaso West Wugon, he would have taken steps to implement aspects of the Emile Short Commission report that demanded that those who were engaged in these atrocities be punished. But he chose to pick and select the recommendations that were favorable to him. Are you aware that in that commission's report, there was a recommendation that the national security architecture that was used to engage in this atrocity at Ayawaso West Wugon should be dissolved? He decided to rubbish and reject that because he had plans of using it in the elections, and that is what we saw in Techiman South, that is what we saw in Savelugu, in Ablekuma Central, Ododo, and some other constituencies. He clearly did not dissolve that national security operations team that was used to do these things in Ayawaso West Wugon. It means that...
Just a minute, Adam, let's speak to facts. Was it for the president to dissolve it? There were direct recommendations as to specific people to do that.
No.
So why don't we lay the
who is the chairperson of the National Security Council? Is the president. Who is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces? Is the president's job. It is the president that issued the white paper.
Just a minute. You're making valid points, but I'm saying if we are expecting or if we want things to change, we should lay the blame at the appropriate quarters. Because what happens is...
So who do you want us to blame?
The report makes specific references, doesn't it?
Let me tell you, this is how these commissions of this nature, this is how it works. When they present their report to the president is expected to issue a white paper. The white paper basically tells which aspects of the committee. We know all of that. Now, when the president issues the white paper where he rejected aspects of the commission's recommendations or the report, the authorities or the institutions that have the mandate to implement those aspects cannot implement it. You are aware of that. So it means that it is the president's decision not to sanction the individuals that were engaged in these illegal or criminal activities. It is the president's decision not to dissolve that national security operations team because he had intentions of using it in the election, and we saw how he did it. So with everything that has happened,
we need to take a break.
I think that you should give me
take a break at this point.
No problem. When we come back, I'll continue.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the look at the NDC March for Justice. Their 8-point demands that was made to the government and matters arising. This is the key point. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Football pa and nothing a high sense as sponsor Euro 2020 Edia Maono ne sa sunti na ya TV so say who Edia Maono a high sense Euro 2020 TV super promo can who kwajo brand new high sense TV and ne board that for pictures ne clear na color ne deep sound quality this so dey one it here high sense TV so dey entry power about down one access you are akona utu sa abefo Efiti 18th June, Ekofim 11th July. A Hisense Hero 2020 TV Super Promo. Emma Refisa, Hisense and Kwan, Emma 5 years warranty. A Hisense Hero 2020 TV Super Promo. Ekosuwa Hisense showrooms at Ghana for Nanina. What Judia Nansenya? Hisense, everyday prices for everyday people. Hisense, official sponsor at the Hero 2020.
Introducing Nestle Milo All-in-One Nutrimix. The goodness of malt, milk and cocoa in Milo, and even more milk. Just add to water and enjoy the perfect cup of winning energy. Milo! Milo! This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
How safe is your environment from pathogens? How do we survive this new normal with bacteria and viruses everywhere? You can take charge of your environment by using Good Air Sans Humidifier with chlorine dioxide tablets to get rid of pathogens, including bacteria and viruses. You can use Good Air Sans Humidifiers in your homes and offices and be rest assured of protection against pathogens. Just set up the Good Air Sans Humidifier in your space to disinfect the place continuously for virus and bacteria-free environment. Our devices work in both public and private spaces like schools, hotels, hospitals, churches, mosques, restaurants, salons, and homes to enjoy a nice family time. Good Air. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Koko, piles, hemorrhoids, intibenya no dro prekope. Ani, Iona Pharmacy the piling capsules aba. Piling, P-Y-L-I-N, bibia free woto. Woyam tetimu ana. Sede ade koko da ne ho adi woni padua mu biara. Ma onsanka piling. Washada aya piling ama koko. Piling, aya plant medicine. Kayo, P-Y-L-I-N. Ubenya piling capsules our pharmacy, herbal shop and our licensed chemical shop Bieremo. At to phone for Iona Pharmacy, Accra 0553 134 185, Kumasi 0243 123 224. Piling, Kokwadro Tatashi, Appeal for Emma Woman Quadano for any Nkwada winning fear do me no intimate fair draby. This advert is FDA approved.
We embarked on a journey through the various zones of Ghana in search of a beauty queen, the one that stands tall amongst the others, a worthy queen in oratory, cultural value, beauty, and hidden abilities waiting to be discovered.
Let us know who you are.
I'm beautiful, you cannot see. I'm very confident.
They amazed the judges, threw them in awe with their convincing performances.
When the person brought me, I grabbed the knife and I stabbed him 5 times. When tomorrow comes, tomorrow will come.
The laughter. The shock.
You want this to go out on air?
The joy.
You've made it to the next round.
Bye-bye.
The emotional and wow moment.
Mommy, oh, you can't do this to me. Wake up.
Warrior, don't know was once I born this channel. I born to know as I born after the after Santa.
Wow, that's interesting.
And this is just a step to what is to come. It will only take hard work, determination, and focus to attain the enviable position, the prestigious crown. Ghana's most beautiful, rediscovering true beauty. And now it is time for the grand launch of GMB 2021. It's time to unveil the 16 beautiful ladies representing the 16 regions of Ghana in a pure mix of culture and glamour. Live this Sunday, 11th July at 8 p.m. on TV3 and on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. Africa and the world. Are you ready?
GMB 2021 is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Carex, GTP, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel, Gino Max and Gino Pepper and Onion, and supported by
When we started at OVA as another TV cooking show, we showcased their cuisines, introduced you to their recipes, and told you tales of our chefs. Thanks to your viewership, it's grown into a cooking brand embraced by a lot more of you and the best of chefs. It's phenomenal. It reignites the passion for cooking if you ever had it, opens you up to new food ideas if you are willing to try. It's where dreams are formed. Our beginners dream of cooking their favorite meal, dreams of owning and running a huge eatery, of sitting among soups and stews and telling culinary tales. Now tune in and open up Chef's Diaries with us. Watch all of these super Afro chefs in the sub-region and experience their world-famous recipes as they tell tales of their culinary journeys.
Chef Diaries is brought to you by
TBG. We stand with you.
And supported by Tasty Tom. Strength comes from within.
Chef Diary shows Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. on TV3.
Welcome back. You're still watching and listening to The Key Points. We're live on TV3, also live on 3FM 92.7, online at 3news.com, also on our Facebook page, TV3 Ghana. So currently we're having a conversation about the NDC Youth Wing's March for Justice, which occurred on Tuesday, the 6th of July 2021. A number of issues raised. The whole process ended with a petition that was submitted to Parliament as well as the Jubilee House. In that petition, the Youth Wing states some 8 demands they want addressed by the government, and that's what we're looking at currently. But before I go to Richard for his take on that issue, let me quickly take some messages that have come through. This one says, please, I will urge our politicians to have some, it says, atom of empathy for we the citizens. If the politicians are comparing themselves to the standards of living of politicians in Europe and elsewhere, they should also try to compare the standards of living of we teachers to those in Europe and elsewhere. That's Michael in Suhum. Another one says, I like your show and I don't miss Key Points. God bless you for the good work you're doing for our mother, Ghana. Thanks for that. Now, good morning, Abna. Where is the money coming from? Why is it being backdated to 2017? Has the COVID situation gone? Hasn't Parliament approved $200 million last week to procure vaccines? Even the payment of allowances to first and second spouses over the years is illegal and must be scrapped entirely. Why should they be paid? That's Awal in Tamale. Suleiman Adamba in Tamale also says, good morning, Abna. The NDC seems to know and talk of justice whenever they are in opposition. What hypocrisy. And that's Suleiman Adamba. She says the Big Six Secretary in Tamale. Okay. Good morning to the Key Points panelists. Abna, my question is, wasn't a it says a selfie demonstration or what? Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but it says, bravo to the police service for providing good security to back our demonstration. I hope reports will be tabled by the president. This Andrews in Konongo, low cost. Walanyo Nakwetia says, assuming this emolument is accepted in favor of the presidential spouses, can this our ailing economy hold if we have a president and his vice having 2 wives respectively?
See, this is why
I'm sure there'll be a criteria for that.
No, there's a criteria already.
Yes, as to
yes.
Number of wives.
Yes.
And
if
entitlement.
The entitlement is to the office. So if you have 10 wives, they will share that same amount.
we will need to look into that some more. Now, it goes on to say we will trash it to avoid our parliamentarians in future demanding the same of their spouses in order to save the economy from shrinking. Let me take one last message coming in. It says, good morning, Abna. The question is, are we not giving the president and vice president so much because of their families? They are enjoying so much privileges because of their spouses and children. Why pay their wives from our shrinked public purse? It's a shame. Good. We'll be reading some more messages as we go along. But Richard, your thoughts on the NDC's youth March for Justice and the specific points regarding the 8 demands they've made to government, touching on corruption, safety, security issues, also unemployment of the youth, and many other issues.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just on the lighter side, Adam was talking about how they were all wearing their face mask and obeying the COVID
most of them.
protocols. That was even outdoors. He's here, indoor. He's not wearing it. Delta variant is around, so it's just a note of caution. But the issue is the NDC is mandated under the Constitution to do what they are doing, keep the government on its toes, raise issues where they deem fit that they think are of national concern and to be addressed. And they can't say Nyansen New Bakufo team. So naturally, whatever contributions the NDC brings on board, that will help in the governance process. Why not? We'll take that on board and do our best. But you see, it also is a self-indicting process. If the NDC are minded, and if you look at what they have listed, they are talking about the youth not being employed. If the NDC had done their job very well, okay, and had most of the youth employed, the work would have been easier when the MPP came to have most of it achieved. They are aware. If it comes to records, when it comes to employment, in the first 4 years of the MPP, the NDC cannot compare records, physical records, the agriculture sector, the industry sector, okay, youth unemployment. There used to be a youth association, an association of unemployed graduates. Abna, when was the last time you heard of that? It was under your period. We are talking about your 8 points. Please, I will take them one after the other. And then it's an accountability process. You would have to tell us how many youth you employed. That gives you the right today to tell us that every youth in this country should be employed. We have had the process where we have ensured majority, and that is if you are willing to
Richard,
go.
just in case you intend to go
Yes.
on a point by point, let me just say we don't have that much time, so maybe you would want to
don't worry.
summarize. I'm just putting your notice.
Don't worry, Abna. But point is that if any government has done so much, the youth in agriculture program, implements and fertilizer and all those things were made available. Those who took the step. And there is an NDC MP on record who came out publicly and said that in his lifetime he has never seen anything like this. And he has gone into farming, and he's a more successful person as a farmer under the MPP than when he was.
Which NDC person is this, you said?
Oh, the MP. You didn't see the video of a former NDC MP who did the video and showed the whole country how he benefited from food in what do you call food and jobs? You didn't see that? You saw it, right? I'm saying that.
Who it is?
Oh, and I'm saying you know it, Abna. Okay, you didn't see that MP. Okay, former MP, NDC MP. He so benefited from it that he came out and then did a video. Oh, don't worry, in a jiffy I'll get it for you. That is the record. When it comes to the what do we call it, industrialization drive, the one district, one factory, they are all going. Private sector, you see, the problem in Ghana is that we do not have a good system of keeping records. And so we are not able to immediately pull out from the hat this number of people getting employed. I currently, in my private space, I'm employing. On Monday, I went to a friend, a geologist's office. People were lined up. He's employing. You go to the US that you are referring to, under COVID, over 10 million people lost their jobs. The economy is picking up. They are now employing. It's the same thing that is happening here. Over there, they have a system that is able to tell you the number of people who were employed during the day. So at the end of the month, 2 months, 3 months, they tell you that, yes, the 2-3 million people have been employed. Here, we don't have such a system in place, so we are not able to give you up-to-date records. It takes a period for us to come and tell you. Look, you go currently.
Jobs that have been touted as having been, created and all, questions have been asked about how sustainable these jobs are, because obviously those are concerns as well.
If you are a farmer, okay, and you started and you were doing well, nothing has changed. Those implements they gave you are long-lasting implements. The fertilizer they are still giving you. The feeds that they are using for animals are still going there. I'm saying that people want white-collar jobs. They want to come and sit in an office. You go and do a master's and this thing in marketing, and to come and market what? Let's get people going, doing the right thing to employ themselves and employ people. No. That is the crux of the issue.
Very well. Richard,
so we need to change that. But you see, something stood out in the NDC demonstration, that we are all failing. And you see, these things, they mention security.
Exactly where I wanted to go to.
You have an MP who has a penchant for threatening security forces in this country. He does it once, he does it twice, everybody is watching. You pretend it didn't happen. He did it at Ayawaso, right in the faces of the police. Then blood gets spilled. Somehow it is somebody's fault. He mounts the podium and threatens security men. If we on our march meet any military man, we will treat him as a criminal. And this person is called an honorable person. He's sitting in parliament. You are okay with that? This is the Ghana in which we are. He has the penchant for insulting and intimidating security. The NDC held a press conference in this country and threatened all heads of security services before elections.
That is never.
And yet, you come and sit here and you are adding security as one of the reasons why this country is where it is. Meanwhile, you have forgotten you are a major contributing factor. There is no way we can talk about Ayawaso West without mentioning Sam George. That is the record he carries. That is the burden he carries. So you have no right whatsoever to come and telling us about security in this country.
What is it about Sam George you're talking about in respect of Ayawaso West?
Oh, you didn't see him in the video threatening police officers in their face?
Are you suggesting that
the same Sam George stood at the podium and said that if they meet any military man on the road, they will treat him as a criminal. Do you know the results of that? You have to be measured in your utterances. And I'm saying that you, the media, also have a responsibility to question them.
What happened at Ayawaso West Wogon was not proper.
Was not. That is fine. The assault was not. Was his attitude right?
But that doesn't, you don't, like we say, two wrongs don't make a right.
Yes,
you don't necessarily
he has since left Ayawaso and he has gone on a podium and he's threatening military men that they'll be treated as criminals.
We will criticize,
and you don't see anything wrong with that.
Bad
and I'm asking you, have you criticized him? Have you asked him?
What did Sam George?
Has anybody had the effrontery to ask Sam George why you threaten the military men in this country? Have you done that?
But Abena,
why?
I think it's important to, because
we don't have much time, so I give you just
Sam George is not here. But what we
I saw Sam George on tape.
But I'm making the point.
Richard,
I think you must. Richard, you need to respect our viewers.
I'm giving him a minute
I kept quiet.
Interjection. Just a minute.
Yes, I kept quiet. You were misinforming them. But even when you were misinformed, it's my turn to talk. So it's only proper. It's only proper that you carry through with the program with some decorum. It's really important.
Adam, please.
Abena, when you are embarking on a demonstration, a civil protest, a peaceful march, it is the police that has that mandate to provide protection. If I have not heard Sam George saying when we meet soldiers on our way, but if I had the opportunity, I would have said same, because President Akufo-Addo is known for using the military to brutalize citizens.
It is not the job of the military. It is not. I will cite examples.
No.
I will cite. You know, when he's making allegations against some judge, you allowed it.
I'm making allegations against some judge.
I will cite examples. It is not part of the military's responsibility.
You're not helping.
It is not part of the military's responsibility to provide security for a match. It is not. It is not part of. We saw what the military did in Ejura.
That's fine.
If you watch videos from Ejura, if you are sending people to control crowd, it is not AK-47 ammunition. It is not.
Who are you? What?
Who is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces?
To have said could be verified.
And I'm saying that even if it is verified,
Richard,
please, you're not having
you have to respect the
viewers. I'm not having the situation because if people are still
he said that I'm told. My producer is telling me that he did say that.
And I am saying that.
And if he did, you're saying you would also do the same.
No, you say Abena.
My producer is confirming that he did say that.
Abena, Richard, respect the viewers. If you cannot be part of the program, you can go. Yes, I kept quiet even when you were misinforming them. And I'm saying that. And I'm saying, but why are you interrupting? Richard, you see, when you lose the argument, this is how you behave. If you cannot be part of a decorum, you can walk out. If you cannot be part of the program, you can walk out. If you cannot be part of it, you can walk out. You can walk out.
We'll take a break.
Because you can walk out.
We'll be right back.
You can walk out.
I'm saying that he's saying
you can walk out. And I'm saying that you can walk out.
I didn't say a word. I didn't say a word. Why do you allow him to have?
Impressa oil and capsules are carefully formulated to give fast relief from pains associated with arthritis, musculoskeletal pains, waist and back pains, and pains related to sports and other injuries. They contain extras from carefully selected plants that keep the joint strong by stopping the degradation of glycosaminoglycan and support joint lubrication activity. The extras have antioxidant property and eliminate harmful toxins that lead to joint pains, muscular pains, and bone weakness. The combined usage of Impressa capsules orally and Impressa oil topically gives faster relief. They provide relief for a longer period of time. Their combined effect results in soothing sore muscles, alleviate joint dryness, and improve numbness at joints and extremities. With Impressa, pain flees. For bulk purchase, contact Iona Pharmacy 0553 134 185 0243 123 224. This advert is FDA approved.
For over 20 years, Chemo has gone the extra mile to beautify homes across Ghana. We offer a wide variety of world-class bathrooms, tiles, kitchens, and interior finishing, giving customers the peace of mind they need to relax and create their dream spaces. We assure you of unbeatable offers, expert advice, and premium customer care. Locate our showroom on the Spintex Road, close to Manette Junction, or call 0900 200 000. Follow us on social media at Chemo Home. Chemo, relax, dream, create.
Bonsoir, monsieur, madame, et voilà.
Ah, babe, what is this?
This is the escargot and the foie gras. Oui.
Where did she go?
You pa one kasa who say oba say your fafiadian. Eh?
It's been long since you ever felt like this.
Welcome to the best in Ghanaian entertainment on Akwaba Magic. Efie. Welcome home to Akwaba Magic on DSTV channel 150. It's your moment. DSTV.
We embarked on a journey through the various zones of Ghana in search of a beauty queen, the one that stands tall amongst the others, a worthy queen in oratory, cultural value, beauty, and hidden abilities waiting to be discovered.
Let us know who you are.
I'm beautiful, you cannot see. I'm very confident.
They amazed the judges, threw them in awe with their convincing performances.
When the person blow me, I grabbed the knife and I stabbed him 5 times. When tomorrow comes, tomorrow comes.
The laughter. The shock.
You want this to go out on air?
The joy.
You've made it to the next round.
Bye-bye. The emotional and wow moment.
Mommy, oh, you can't do this to me. Wake up.
Warrior don't know was one sub or one is no album, so no other album, and I put them after Santa.
Wow, that's interesting.
And this is just a step to what is to come. It will only take hard work, determination, and focus to attain the enviable position, the prestigious crown, Ghana's most beautiful, rediscovering true beauty. And now it is time for the grand launch of GMB 2021. It's time to unveil the 16 beautiful ladies representing the 16 regions of Ghana in a pure mix of culture and glamour. Live this Sunday, 11th July at 8 p.m. on TV3 and on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. Africa and the world. Are you ready?
GMB 2021 is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Carex, GTP, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel, Gino Max and Gino Pepper and Onion, and supported by
They have many things in common. Their taste for what's trendy, eagerness to spill the news, excitement to share a new recipe, readiness to commit, willingness to book that event. Ultimately, the vibe to make your imaginations go wild. The Ladies Circle.
Every Saturday, 6 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by
Yaz Sanitary Pad, Vodafone, GTP, still timeless.
Woodin.
Welcome back. There's much calm here now, and we'll be coming up to wrap up on the conversation there. March for Justice, the March for Justice demonstration that was put up by the NDC Youth Wing. We'll be wrapping up with a submission from Mami. Mami, let me hear you finally on that issue.
Right, so I think just after everything that's happened, kind of thrown everybody off, but
caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the morning to turn out this way, but I think one of the wisest things I heard from someone was the opposite of good is, the enemy of good is better. And that's why we've been straddling there in the place of mediocrity, where it's, well, you know one thing, in our time, maybe we killed one person, by your time you killed two. So it's like, oh, we stole this and you stole that. By the end of the day, it's never about excellence. And I just want to leave today with the idea of what is the standard of excellence that we are setting in this country, a legacy that we are setting for the next generation. We can waste time, you know, with the banter and talking plenty, but knowing that people are facing the difficulty, the business sector, people are struggling with their businesses, the private sector is having difficulty. But while you are speaking, people are amassing wealth. Our country sits on reserves of wealth, but we waste our time on emotional conversations that don't bring results. And I think that there has to be a standard of excellence that we must seek for in this country. Politics is like really bringing us down. This level of mediocrity that we are settling for as to who did it. I think that even sometimes it's like, if let's say, for example, in your home, and I think it goes back to a lot of family dynamics where in the household, the kids will ask for something, the father will say, well, we walk barefooted. So if you have one shoe, what is the problem? The idea is never the next level of excellence. And that is what and we are in Ghana we are competing with the global economy is so big,
right.
And countries are setting standards for excellence constantly, and we are always at the same place having the same conversation of who did it worse, and at the end of the day we'll go and beg these same people, please help us, like we are children. Then why do we even have independence, and why do we go to school, and why do we have brains if our only level of reasoning sticks to who did it better and who did it worse? And that's why I want to leave here today to say that it's getting tiring. And I think it's an insult to the intelligence of so many Ghanaians who have struggled to put themselves through school, to come to Ghana, those who have left, those who have come here, saying, yeah, but 10 people should come to Ghana to come and meet what? And so I just really hope that moving forward, we can really start asking questions and moving to substance over emotions and politics. Is becoming disgusting. I think it's tiring. That's what I'll just say, yeah.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mame. And what a wrap to that part of the conversation. Indeed, that food for thought there. The panelists on this part of the conversation have been from extreme left, Edem Agbana, Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC, Mame Awinado Kanyarige, consultant with the Black Bridge Consulting Group, and Richard Nyama, Deputy Director of Communications, NPP. Richard will stay with us for the next part of the conversation, but Mame and Edem will be taking leave of us. Thank you so much, Edem and Mame, and we wish you all the best. Next, we'll be looking at the EDRA committee hearings, talking about the Justice Kumsin committee set up to look into the circumstances leading to the unfortunate events of the 29th of June 2021 in EDRA. The committee started hearing this week. A number of people have taken their turns at the committee, giving testimonies or evidence on the issues that came out from there. Particularly, the security couples have been speaking and putting out a number of interesting revelations that we will be dissecting this morning on the show. We'll take a listen to some of the testimonies as the committee heard them. And when we come back, I'll introduce the next panelists for that conversation. See you shortly. Let's take a look at this.
Firing from the crowd. I think the commander at that stage then had to use minimum force by trying to fire to maim those who were involved. So if you realize that they fired and then we didn't have instant death within the crowd.
When asked who takes lead in controlling a rioting crowd, the commanding officer said the military takes charge when invited in such circumstances. Brigadier General Joseph Apos said the military does not use tear gas, and thus its rules of engagement is to use live bullets in dispersing rioting crowd.
Once we take over at that stage, we have a procedure that we follow. Crowd dispersal procedure, which you can relate it to rules of engagement, and that does not include tear gas.
Deputy Ashanti Regional Police Commander DCOP David Ajimajiman told the committee despite picking intelligence about planned disturbances at Ijura, the police went there without adequate riot controlling weapons such as tear gas and rubber bullets. He said the assumption was that the presence of the military will scare the protesters and not result in any shooting.
The essence of our duty in Ijura was not was basically to ensure that there was peace, and we didn't anticipate that it would degenerate into shooting.
Yes,
our objective was first to protect life and property, and of course to maintain law and order.
He disclosed 2 persons have been arrested for possessing weapons during the protest. He, however, indicated that no security person has been reported to have sustained gunshot wounds.
They suffered other wounds. For example, my district commander now cannot wear a pair of boots because he was injured in the process.
The Ijura Municipal Police Commander, DSP Philip Kojo Hammond, disputed claims that an injury on his leg is as a result of the mob action.
When we were retreating to the office, I sustained some injury with my leg. That is why I'm not wearing boots.
So the injury you sustained was not as a result of
the mob? No.
Okay.
Welcome back. So those were scenes from the hearings at the Ejura Justice Kumsin Committee hearings in Ejura. In the studio with me to have this conversation from my extreme left, we have Adib Sani, a security analyst and executive director of the Jati K Center for Human Security and Peace Building. Also, Richard Nyama is still with us, Deputy Director of Communications, NPP. And over on Zoom, we have the Honorable Peter Tobu. He's the NDC MP for Wa West, and he himself is a former police officer. Honorable Tobu, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, good morning, Honorable. How are you?
I'm very fine, my dear sister. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Let me apologize, first of all, for you going through that heat between the two gentlemen.
I know. I know. The hazards of the job, yes.
It's quite interesting.
Right,
okay.
Sure. Let me start with you, given that you're on Zoom and, you know, we don't want to miss any opportunities. The Justice Kumsin Committee started hearings this week. Any particular things standing out from the hearing so far? A number of people have gone before the committee to give evidence, a number of security couples, some persons from the media fraternity as well. Your thoughts on the process so far?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our cherished viewers and to make some very emphatic statements before I go into Ejura and the committee. Security is always silent, but insecurity is very loud. I think that over the years, many presidents, including President Nana Akufo-Addo, will tell you that the safety and security of the Ghanaian, the safety and security of citizens of this country, the safety and security of every person living in this country is of paramount importance to governance. Because without security, we can't have development. And it doesn't matter the kind of investments and economic plans that we have. If insecurity breaks out, everything comes to zero. And that is why I will plead with the gentlemen in the studio, they should take it cool. It shows the temperature that we have in the country. And it shows the level of mediocrity. I heard somebody mention that. It shows the level of mediocrity that Ghana has gone into and we are still perpetuating. That what was done in the past that was wrong, if it is even tripled or quadrupled, nobody should comment on it because it was done. And if it was done and nobody talked about it, why are we talking about it now? That is mediocrity. Let me go to Ejura. My dear sister, listen, the truth of the matter is that the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Armed Forces are natural allies. They are natural partners on matters of national defense, national security, and internal law enforcement. So whatever it is, each role, the role that they play, interrelate, but they are well defined for what is for the police and what is for the army. The police is in charge of internal security. The police is in charge of law enforcement. The Ghana Armed Forces defends our territorial integrity to prevent external aggressors from attacking Ghana. And at one point in time, when the police are stressed beyond limit, the police will ask the army to come in and support. And in that supporting role, there are well-defined roles that the army will have to play. The truth of the matter is that if we succeed as a people in reducing the power and the competence of the Ghana Police Service, it will shift to give a lot of burden to the army. And finally, it will affect the army negatively because civil police must have its profile well defined for people to understand that these are our friends. The police officer is supposed to be a friend. When the military descends in town, you should see people running away because they are not supposed to be there. But anytime you see police descending in town and people are running, it is a wrong step. The police are supposed to be our friends. We are supposed to work together as a people. The civil population ought to support the police to protect lives and property, prevent crime, investigate crime, detect crime to ensure that the internal security environment is conducive enough for economic development to progress. But the military is not trained for civil duties. The military is trained as a combat unit. And when the military comes, they come in to deal with people as enemies. They are trained to deal with the enemies of Ghana. The police officer is trained to deal with people in Ghana as allied. And that is why when you go to every police station, it is written there, every caller is a potential ally. Every caller is a potential ally. What it means is that the way we treat civilians is different from the way the military treats civilians. In the United Nations, over the period of time, the individual police officers who were used in crowd control duties, criminal investigation, and other things, got to a point and the UN realized that there is a gap between the power of the individual police officer and the Ghana or the armed forces. The armed forces have excessive power in matters of crowd control. The individual police officer have less power in terms of crowd control. So they created a new policing unit to bridge the gap. And that policing unit is called the Formed Police Unit. It's globally accepted, internationally endorsed. And Ghana, lucky enough, under the former Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, who himself was a UN police commissioner, introduced the Formed Police Unit by converting the former Armored Car Squadron, which was in fact, an appendage of several coups d'etats. He converted the Armored Car Squadron into the now Formed Police Unit. And the United Nations quickly, because of our international professionalism demonstrated over the years, if you go to international, the Ghana Armed Forces has a very high reputation. The Ghana Police Service has a very high reputation. Our competence and quality is incomparable. So the United Nations quickly asked Ghana to support international peacekeeping with Formed Police Unit. Today, as we speak, we have a Formed Police Unit of Ghana in Somalia. We have another one in South Sudan. And I'm sure there's another one somewhere, whether in Darfur. But the truth of the matter is that if we don't understand these dynamics, and we think that everything we do within the internal security environment, soldiers should come, we will have a militarized policing environment. And when you have a military policing environment, you are gradually preaching a language of war. In militarized policing environment, the people, the citizens will begin to hate the police. They will begin to lose trust in the police. And gradually, when the police collapses, it put a lot of pressure on the army. And the army, because they are not trained for that particular environment, you create a lot of mess. And you have a cyclical conflict that is dangerous to manage.
Honorable, let me come in here.
Let this be.
Yes, Honorable, let me come in here. You talk about all these great things, with the police service, the forms department and everything, and the high standards, that the international community seems to attach to the security forces in Ghana. Against that backdrop, let us understand why it is then that we seem to have challenges with crowd control issues in the country.
Thank you so much. We are not honest as a people. Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan detected this challenge and he introduced the Formed Police Unit. And the dream was to have Formed Police Unit stationed in all the 10 regions at the time. And now we should be thinking about having Formed Police Unit stationed in all the 16 regions of this country. And look, they are specialized in crowd control and management. And everything that has to do with the Formed Police Unit, there is no crowd in this country that a Formed Police Unit will go and will not be able to perform.
So currently, what is the state of the Formed Police Unit? If you could let us understand, what is the current situation? Are they spread all over the country in all, maybe at least the 10 regions that we had up until the 6 were added recently? What's the situation?
As we speak, we don't have up to even 10. But what I'm saying is that the Formed Police Unit is always on standby. What happened in Nigeria, if we're serious that intelligence is telling us there is likely to be violence in Nigeria, and we deploy one full Formed Police Unit. One full Formed Police Unit is a minimum of 120 officers. And among the 120 officers, that means we have 3 platoons. And within these 3 platoons, there are several specialized people within the platoons. People don't understand these things. And if you deploy one full Formed Police Unit into Nigeria, with the water cannon, and with the tasers, and with the batons, and with the shells, I am telling you, they will throw the stones, they will throw the sticks, they will fire their shotguns. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, if we get to a stage of using a rubber bullet as police officers, everybody will realize that the situation is coming under control. We don't even necessarily have to use rubber bullets. But when we get to a point of using live bullets, what it means is that either the police is incompetent, the police is overwhelmed, or probably we are just so excited as a people that anytime there is a crowd and it's violent, let's bring our soldiers. And when the soldiers come and they do what they have done, I don't see why people are complaining. Let's collapse the Ghana Police Service and the military will come in and do what they are not trained to do, and all of us will pay the price for it.
Definitely no.
Yesterday, in fact, it's quite interesting that somewhere in a meeting, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go on.
Yes. Somewhere in the meeting, I was so excited that the Minister of Defense himself said, look, government should take strategic steps to empower the Ghana Police to take its rightful place in internal security matters, so that the over-reliance of military on matters of civil disorder will be taking a break. Because the fact is that we are overly exposing our military to civil-related matters. And we are downgrading the capacity of the Ghana Police Service. We are cheapening the army with some of these things. And we are bastardizing the police and connoting incompetence. But the fact is that it's all of us, as a people, as a country. If you know what security is, and you know the role of police in a democracy, I think what we are doing to the Ghana Police Service is just, we pay lip service to it.
Right.
Look at the budget. Over the years, from government to government, look at what has happened to the Ghana Police Service. Look at the recruitment process. Over the years, from government to government, look at the state of the Ghana Police Service now. And gradually, it will become like a snowball. All of us will come back to pay a price for that lack of commitment to enhance the capacity of the Ghana Police Service.
Very well. Honorable, let me finish with you before, we lose you, because there were some, issues with the connection earlier on. Now, looking at the proceedings so far at the Justice Koomson Committee hearings, I mean, at some point, we had one of the, I believe, the police commanders indicate or admitting that, yes, they had intelligence on the 28th of June that some activities, were going to happen on the 29th by the youth, because that was the day that the late Kaka was going to be buried. And I think if he was, asked by the chairperson that if indeed you had this intelligence, then you should have gone to the, the grounds on the 29th, prepared to deal with crowd control issues. But clearly, that didn't happen. Listening to the evidence given so far, are you convinced that the choice of, deploying the military was necessary or justified? Because we've had, the military also indicate at the hearing that if they had gone in with the intention of, killing or firing, more casualties would have been recorded.
Thank you very much. The military will never be called to come in with any different intention than to shoot live bullets. That is what they are trained to do. So when they went there and 2 people died, they could have killed 100. They could have killed 1,000. The fact that they can kill makes them the military. And the fact that we agreed that they should come and kill, we invited them. Let me tell you something. What I heard, the regional minister said he had some intelligence and he deployed the military. The deputy regional commander comes to say, it is on assumption. The assumption is that anytime we deploy military to Ejura, the situation is always brought under control. So the military, the people of Ejura respect the military so much that anytime we deploy them, the people respect them. Today, he has agreed that that assumption has failed, it had miscalculated, and finally we are paying the price for losing 2 more people. What we are saying, please, intelligence is not heard. And you don't assume to deploy. If what the regional minister heard, the regional minister is the chairman of the Regional Security Council, the regional minister is not the council. If what he heard, if he understood what it meant to analyze intelligence, that was basic information. The expert within the Regional Security Council, if they had gotten that information and analyzed it, they will come and tell you it is intelligence, and this is the way we should strategize to be able to deal with the situation that is coming up. But all we sit and do is to assume that, it is going to be fine when they see the military. The moment people begin not to fear the military again, we are getting into trouble. And the moment we try to use the military to replace the police in civil disorder situations, we are gradually bastardizing the Ghana Police Service, reducing the respect we have for them, losing the trust we are getting for them, and gradually the nation will pay a price for our level of mediocrity.
Very well. Thank you. Honorable Tobu, we'll be coming back to you. Kindly hang on there for us. Adib, let me come to you. The 3-member committee has started sitting. A number of people gone before it testified. Anything striking for you so far?
Well, a lot. I've been keenly following the proceedings. A lot of the testimonies can best be described as confusing, inconsistent, and sometimes laughable, to say the least. And I'm pretty sure some of the things that were said by certain persons sounded quite funny to themselves. Everybody was blamed but them. The media was blamed.
Oh, yes.
I'm still trying very hard to make sense of it, why the media was blamed for reporting the truth, for showing us the footage. I mean, at a point, I told a friend that thank God for the media, thank God for social media, because I'm pretty sure if we had not seen the footage, some person would have said it's a warlike situation and the protesters were firing G3 rifles, you know. So, I mean, we all saw it. We didn't have to even wait for anyone to narrate before we drew our conclusions. There was a lot of operational deficiencies listening to especially the security officers. And like my senior colleague, Honorable Tobu, said, there's a thick line between intelligence and rumor. And when the minister says he picked up intelligence, what kind of intelligence? Who was it from? Because I'm a security person. For example, I come on TV and radio almost every day. A lot of people call me from across the length and breadth of the country. When there's confusion at Alavanyo Nkonya, I have the two sides calling me. When there's tensions in Yendi, I have the two sides calling me. And you see, some of the information they give you might be biased, some might be exaggerated, and some unbridled lies. Okay, so there's always the need for you to verify and re-verify before you even come to on TV to talk about it. So we wish to know. And I expected the committee members to push the officer, the regional minister. The information you received, was it from an official source or unofficial source? Politicians, are called by their constituents almost on daily basis, okay, to give them information. Because intelligence is a different thing altogether. For example, if you see someone entering the banking hall, for the unintelligent eye, the person is going to pick money. But for the intelligence officer, it can be anything. It can be that he's going for a child trafficking, ring meeting. He's going to for a terrorist meeting, or perhaps he's going to rob the bank. Okay, we have what we call the intelligence cycle, from the stage of mandating the intelligence, gathering the intelligence, breaking it down and analyzing it, making sense of the information you have picked up. Then the information is disseminated to the appropriate bodies and institutions for implementation. Then there's a feedback mechanism. So if all of these is not followed, and based on information you received from the ground, we don't know from who, then you decide to take an action which the police themselves didn't need. Because according to one of the officers, they didn't ask the military to come around. And that is what I find quite distressing, to say the least.
Now let's look at the architecture of that, the regional security, the RegSec. At the head, you have the regional minister. Obviously, he's a political person and there to, exercise political power. But when it comes to real security issues, obviously, if the person is not a security person or doesn't have a security background, they would be lacking in that, and so would have to depend on the expertise of the technical men on the team. Yeah. So it would raise questions about collaboration at that level, for instance, and that is something we need to be worried about, correct?
Exactly so. And that is why there's even the National Security Minister who is supposed to collaborate in a synergized manner the various intelligence and security agencies in the country. Because in the past, one of the issues we raised is police intelligence, gathering their intelligence, keeping it to themselves. The BNI now, NIB, also keeping it to themselves. We even needed to synergize it to the extent that we go beyond the country. At the sub-regional level, we would have different countries contributing into a pool of some sorts. So we don't have fugitives running from one country to another country without being detected. When you receive information, okay, I would have expected that the regional minister calls for a RegSec meeting. And according to him, he was in Accra. That's why he couldn't call for the meeting. But, we hold meetings almost on daily basis with partners in the US and other places all across the length and breadth of the globe, okay? And if perhaps he thinks that, no, this is classified information that he wouldn't want to be out there. They have the GOTA phones. These are secured national security lines. So there are so many ways the meeting could have been held. But the fact that the minister didn't call for that meeting and decided to take the initiative to deploy the military means he did it on personal grounds rather than with recourse to proper procedure, with recourse to even RegSec. like you rightly mentioned, we have technical people. We have the police commander, the military commander. We have some other technical people within. And I would have expected that at least you hold that meeting, consult the various stakeholders, be sure that the police indeed needed that support, because under the normal scheme of things, it is the police. Like my senior colleague rightly mentioned, the police is trained, the rapid deployment force, and the formed police unit. That is their work. They have been specially trained. And mind you, the police can also use force. Okay, you only have the military stepping in when the situation is completely out of control and there's the need for reinforcement from the other side.
Yes,
unfortunately, I don't think that the situation was that bad, was that fluid.
Well,
to warrant the military
it's been
coming
admitted,
in.
really, at the hearing, when the Deputy Ashanti Regional Police Commander admitting that they miscalculated and therefore they take responsibility. Richard, come in here with that. So far, your thoughts on the process, the hearing, the evidence that have been put forward. Anything striking for you, worthy of highlighting?
In one word or in a sentence, it's largely due to intelligence failure. That's what pops up at me. And I think the Honorable Tugu did a good job of putting that aspect into perspective. Our security, and for that matter, our internal security, is a major issue. And the way it is run, is it being properly run professionally, among other things, are questions that we will need to look at. The budgetary allocations to the police force, for instance. The issue of capacity building. Are we building the capacities of because look, we are in a democracy. We like it or not, we're going to have a lot of demonstrations and situations where you need crowd control teams to do a proper job of it. You see, these are remnants of our past. The military interventions we've had and the fact that we've lived under so many military regimes, I think has had an imprint on our psychology. Even as ordinary people, we tend to have or give more respect to the military than we do the police. In other jurisdictions...
Is it respect or fear?
Oh, even he said it. Mr. Tobu said it. It is both. It is both. Because there's this thinking that the military are more professional, they do things and you can't mess with them. So it's a combination of the two. But I'm saying that I think it's become hazy. We don't seem to know when one starts and where the other begins, ends. And so in the end, you see the military most of the time being misused. And it cuts across the various regimes. But you see, there's a need for proper attention. And it looks like we have always paid this lip service to the military. When we say we are investing in them, we are talking about how many motorbikes or cars have been donated by one government or the other to them. And then we use that as yardsticks to talk about how they are. But it's a whole gamut of things. Capacity building. He's indicated the use of a particular unit. And to this one, I may fault him a bit. He had the opportunity to work with the former IGP. I think he should have pushed him to ensure that Mr. Alassan's baby that he brought was rolled out across the other regions. And that, because the way Mr. Tobu talks, he's got the experience and the background. And at the police level, I think they don't also help themselves. Because you would expect that they have some blueprint, okay, that they are working with and they are working towards. So that, let's say they have 16 regions now, we want to roll out this specialized unit to it. We should have some specific numbers in mind. We should have a budget in mind. We should have some capacity building program in place. The equipment, because they use specialized equipment in doing that. And so if you had a blueprint that was put in place by Mr. Alassane and it passed on to the subsequent IGPs, maybe by now we'll be in the final phase of its implementation. Okay? And then we can hold the politicians to book and to ransom if they do not help budget for these things. But somehow it's like the specialists, leave these decisions to the politicians to take.
Is it that they are leaving it to the politicians to take? Or
unless he tells me that there was a blueprint.
By reason of how the system is operated.
Hold on. If there was a blueprint, how come the subsequent IGPs didn't follow through with that? Why are we where we are? Said that where Mr. Alassane left it is where it is. Why haven't they been equipped? Why do we want to rather have a SWAT team? Okay, because the whole SWAT idea has its connotation. Meanwhile, we are in a democracy where civil strife and demonstrations are very important and acceptable ways of doing things. And so, have a specialized police force that deals with crowds. And we have it in place, but we have failed to grow it. We have failed to equip it. We have failed to motivate it. So it's a systemic structural failure.
Right.
And it goes over these various years. But you see, it also speaks of our general way of doing things in this country. Haphazardly. We fight fire. We are never prepared for any situation. Look, let's be frank with ourselves. We can never have a situation where the police or the military or whichever security force will not go out of control. Even in the United States, the Capitol State Building, what happened there was due to intelligence failure. It was due to a whole lot of things. The military finally came in, but we saw what happened. When George Floyd was gunned down, we saw was murdered, like had a knee on his neck for 9 minutes, some 27 seconds, and dying. We saw the reaction of the police on the streets of America. Even the well-trained, the most well-trained, they do get out of hand. Those are human effects. But as a country, as a nation, we should have a conscious, deliberate attempt and effort at making sure that we reduce it to the barest minimum. Now, I am waiting to see the recommendations and how this Ghanaian one will come out, comparing to what I'm seeing unfold in the US. You understand? Right now, I think they are in the third stage of actually different bodies dealing with the same matter, trying to make sure it never happens again.
Which is
and
what we also hope for.
That will be our attitude.
Very well.
That look, what happened in Nigeria should never have happened. No life should be lost whatsoever because people are angry.
Very well.
And so that should never happen again.
Very well. Obviously, that is the major objective we are all hoping is achieved. Honorable Tobu, can you hear me? If you could kindly unmute your mic.
Right.
Good,
I
yes.
can hear you.
Sure. I don't know if you have any reactions to what Richard indicated, because he talks about how, systemic the challenges are and why is it that we are not able to carry through with certain plans that are, started by a particular administration. Obviously, this challenge, permeates the system. We see it play out in other aspects of our economy as well, where good projects are started but are not seen through by, successive governments and all of that. But let us understand how that plays out within the system of the Ghana Police Service.
Thank you very much. I think that Richard has made some very serious statements, but let me just quickly say, if Richard knows me very well, in terms of professionalism, I don't compromise my standards. The truth of the matter is that if you look at what Mr. Alassane did, the legacies of Mr. Alassane, and the fact that Mr. David Asante Pietu came and reviewed the whole system, and he came to a conclusion that, look, we have structural challenges, we have systemic challenges, and the only way we can reposition the Ghana Police Service into its rightful place in this Fourth Republic democracy is to have a total transformation of the service. I introduced the transformation agenda. Maybe Richard doesn't know. The transformation agenda was anchored on the MPP's 2016 promises to the Ghana Police Service. The MPP under then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo promised that when they come into power in 2017, they were going to do so much in transforming the Ghana Police Service. So basically, the IGP was very smart. He built his transformation agenda anchored on the promises of the then campaign team. So what it means is that if they win power, and President Nana Akufo-Addo is in office, and he will really fulfill his campaign promises. I am telling you, the Ghana Police Service, as we speak in 2021 today, would have been a very different organization altogether, and more competent and capable than what we had in the past. Why? Because if you look at the fact that we are talking about artificial intelligence, and establishing emergency command centers, and having a lot of CCTV cameras in town, and linking these CCTV cameras to the command centers, and the fact that we're going to introduce rovers using motorbike to fight motorbike-related crimes, and many of these motorbike riders have gotten themselves wired with cameras. I am telling you, where we were going and what we could see was quite encouraging. But what happened? The government on its own failed to honor its own promises to the Ghana Police Service, and thereby challenging the effectiveness of the transformation agenda. When you look at, let me just quickly say this. I am sure that with time we will get there, but quickly, as a matter of time, what is happening in Ejura now? They are gradually tilting towards concluding or making recommendations to the fact that the police is ill-equipped, the police is ill-trained, and that is why they could not contain the situation. If they go that way, some of us will be totally disappointed because we have a Tibuli Commission report. We have one of the best Justice Archer report that has painted these things. The Justice Archer report since 1997 up to date. It's been there. So if you want to look at the problems of police service and how we can transform it, let's just go pick the Justice Archer report. We don't need another committee. This committee is basically to look at what happened in Nigeria. How can we prevent it from happening? And deep down my heart, I know, as a matter of fact, we can only prevent such from happening if we capacitate the Ghana Police Service to take its rightful place in our democracy and ensure that the military are also capacitated to ensure that they have what it takes to protect the territorial integrity of this country and not be dragged into a civil internal security related matter. We are cheapening them, and in fact, we are creating enmity between the military and the citizenry, and that is not healthy in our democracy.
Very well. Now, let me have your take on this issue. Now, so from the hearings, there was quite a significant attempt to bash the media. And the media at the hearings have been tagged as acting unprofessionally and, a whole lot of things said about the media. Your thoughts on that? Because the argument put up by the media is that, well, thanks to our work, this whole thing came to light. And yet we seem to have been, at the receiving end of this whole thing. Everybody blaming the media but refusing to take responsibility. Your thoughts on that?
Thank you very much. It is quite unfortunate that we will not praise the media. We are rather blaming the media. What is media? The media virtually is a conveyor belt. The media was in Ejura and conveyed what was actually happening in Ejura. What wrong has the media done? You talk about sensationalism. The media is not a security agency. The media is the fourth realm of the state, and the media's job is to let everybody be educated on a particular matter. The media's job is to bring information to bear. The media's job is able to put all of us at a particular level that we know what is happening in Nigeria, and that is what the media did. What we also fail as a people, the military should learn that if we have operations of this nature, it is possible to have one or two media people in our midst go with us so that they can report exactly what we did and what happened. And we are operating under rules of engagement. You see, the difference is that when the military is found in a particular environment, they have rules of engagement and some SOPs to follow. The police do not work with rules of engagement. The police are talking about directive use of force. And the directive use of force is linked to the service instruction of the Ghana Police Service. And basically, we are aligned in two different directions. but merging at a point to ensure that there is peace in this country. So for me, blaming the media is like probably we don't have anything much to say. And probably the media has exposed us and we can't defend ourselves. Let's admit, and let me salute the Deputy Regional Commander of the Ashanti region for admitting that we miscalculated. I take blame. And that is leadership. Okay? And if he has miscalculated, he's taking blame. It's the Inspector General of Police responsibility to look at professional policing. What should he have done? Is it beyond him to have done what he should have done? Why are you admitting the blame? 2 people have died. Will this admission of the blame bring them back to life? No. So we should take responsibility and be accountable to the people and the law. The police is virtually must always be accountable, 1, to the law, and number 2, to the people. So if you're accountable to the people, you don't take a gun and look into somebody's face and fire with a live bullet. Because before a police officer will fire, your life must be in immediate danger, and every step you were taught in the training school, and every step you were taught during practical experiences has failed. And if you don't fire, you can die. That is the only time a police officer is justified to fire. Right. But that is not so with the military. When you invite them, you are saying that the mob has become violent. The mob are probably firing guns like G3 and other things, and we don't have the capacity to deal with them. So please, military, come. So when they come with a higher firepower, and they are coming to deal with combat. So if you see death in a military operation, it is not surprising. We have caused it because we are weakening our Ghana Police Service and we are burdening the army.
Very well. Now let me ask this: the regional minister, even before that committee was set up, indicated that he had given the order for the deployment of the military. And then at the hearing, he did confirm as well. But he said, so he gave the order for the military deployment based on intelligence he had received. Now, when you hear that and then hear the Deputy Regional, Ashanti Regional Commander say or admit that they miscalculated and they would therefore take responsibility. How do you what do you make of these 2 statements? Because I confirm, first of all, whether or not the Deputy Regional Commander would be on the RegSec. And if so, is it that the regional minister had information coming from the technical persons on the team to, issue or call for the military deployment? We're trying to understand how that whole space works.
Thank you very much. With my professional eyes, I can just make one statement. The regional minister is possibly a tyrant. The regional minister has positioned himself as the council, but he's just the chairman of the council. You see, these 2 contradictory statements, it's telling us that Ashanti region do not have a functioning regional security council. The regional minister said, I got information and I deployed the army. I deployed the military because I've been doing this since 2017. When he made that emphatic statement at the commission, I was wondering, this is somebody who at least would have been suspended before the commission, the committee will continue hearings. And he's still in office. And he's been doing it since 2017. And you know what? The Regional Security Council is a baby of the National Security Council that we refer to as the Council in the Act, Act 1030. The truth is that if this is what he's been doing since 2017 and he's still in office, it means he's reflecting the posture and character of the National Security Council, who is chaired by the president. So the president can also do things. What it means that civil population or civilian power is being used to deploy
technology coming in there for us, but we'll come back to you, Honorable, if you can hear me. We have a bit of a challenge with the connection.
He's still in office.
Yes, carry on.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. We had a break in connection then.
Sorry, I'm so surprised that the regional minister is sitting in office because he said it clearly. I deployed the military, and I was laughing. You deployed the military without the council meeting. Even the information you got in, according to you, you are not willing to reveal the source. I am telling you, you have the NIB regional boss, you have the regional police crime officer, we have the regional police commander, we have the military, the COS is there, right? The general officer commanding is there, the CO is there. All these people are specialists in the area. But you got information and you deployed them. And the deputy regional commander comes to say, no, we didn't deploy based on information. We deployed based on assumption, past experiences, that anytime the military goes to Ejura, there's always peace. So we call on the military to go there because we believe that there will be peace. Now we have realized that we miscalculated. So I take full responsibility. He has disagreed with his boss, who is the regional chairman of the chairman of the Regional Security Council, And the deputy regional commander has always represented the regional commander in council meetings when the regional commander is not able to go. So virtually, he's a member of the Regional Security Council. And I believe, even behind the scenes in this era of technology, I mean, somebody said it right in the
Sure, the meeting could have been held nonetheless,
It's not about physical meeting. You could probably consult 2 or 3 security heads who are special advisors to you as the chairman of the council. And they will take a decision and tell you, this is what we want to do to bring peace. Then you endorse it as a political head responsible for policy matters. But if you begin to get to the operational level, get to the tactical level, and as a regional minister representing the president, deploying military, we are getting to a stage that the security sector of this country can only be reformed and be better.
Very well. Thanks for that. Richard, you had a question?
Yes. I have my attitude to the structural systemic failures. And Mr. Tobu, I wasn't indicting your professionalism. I said it several times that you have displayed it. What I was saying is that you probably should have pushed your boss harder. But I do understand the difficulty associated with the IGP holding the office and being in fear of losing their jobs. My attitude has always been that probably, especially for internal security purposes, maybe the appointment of the IGP should fall outside the remit of the president. Let it run professionally. Let the job of the government in power is to ensure that whatever blueprint or structure they have in place works. But they do not live in fear of being fired or appointed. I don't know what your solution to it, because seriously, if we are not burying our heads in the sand, this didn't start with this government. It's been with us from day one, and we have run all of them down. I think this is a simple solution. What is your take on that?
The appointment of the IGP. I think, Honorable Tobu, we'll have to take a break at this point. When we come back, we can address that. I would also want Adib's perspectives on that issue as well. So kindly hold on for us. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we go into all those angles, considering the IJRA hearings by the Justice Kumsin Committee. This is the key point. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Saturday mornings will never be the same again.
We will bring you the best mix of sports and lifestyle content on Warm Up Plus.
We will interview exciting professionals from different fields of endeavor, including sports and fitness. Give fans an opportunity to show their passion and preview upcoming games.
Discuss what's trending in the world of sports and entertainment, give you lifestyle tips, serve you music, exercise, dance, laugh, and have an absolute ball on TV each Saturday.
So whether you're a fan or you just like fun,
you will absolutely love Warm Up Plus.
Warm Up Plus shows live Saturdays at 10 a.m. only on TV3.
Yes, hello, and if you're ready for the house party, over to you.
Let's do this. Hey,
a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Priscilla Asiero. A round of applause for Celestine Donkor. This can only be
Music shows every Saturday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. You're still watching and listening to The Key Points. We're live on TV3, also live on 3FM 92.7. We're currently looking at the proceedings so far at the Justice Kumsin committee set up to look into the circumstances that led to the unfortunate event on the 29th of June in Ijra, where 2 people were killed in the protests by residents there over the death of Kaka, and also leaving 4 others injured. We're having a conversation with Honorable Peter Tobu, also Richard Nyama and Adib Sani. I'll quickly go back to Honorable Peter Tobu for your perspective on the appointment issue. Honorable Tobu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. So briefly, if you could, let us know your thoughts about this bit about political influence by way of perhaps appointments of the leadership of the police, the IGP to be specific, and how that impacts, this or continues to reinforce the systemic challenges we have in the police service.
Thank you very much. It is a legal issue, it is a systemic issue, it's a structural issue. Legally, the 1992 Constitution made police heavily political. Right from the police council, the membership of the police council, the constitution of the police council, the appointment of the Inspector General of Police, everything is heavily political. So there is no government that will come to do anything new if this particular regime or law is not reviewed.
Sure.
Let me make this emphatic statement. The insecurity that we enjoy, let me say enjoy because we love it. If we don't love it, we can do something about it. The insecurity we unfortunately enjoy in this country. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes. The insecurity we enjoy as a country is as a result of the insecurity related to the tenure of the Inspector General of Police's office. If there is insecurity, if your tenure is not secure, there is no way you can provide security for this country. You can wake up in the morning and dress up as Inspector General of Police, go to office, and maybe in the next 2-3 hours by 10 a.m., you get a call from the Flagstaff House or the Golden Jubilee House. Thank you very much for serving us or serving the country. The president intends to appoint a new IGP, and we appreciate your contribution to our national peace and security. Thank you. And that is it. The next moment is announced, and the next moment your letter is received, and you start packing your things in office looking very confused. We need to look at it as a nation. There are best practices around the world. Can we have a police commission? Yes. The Police Service Commission should be able to play a role in fine-tuning the appointment process. And even if the president wants to fire an Inspector General of Police, Parliament can also have a role to play to ensure that, look, the person is justifiable fired. But if we don't have this and the person who is appointed as IGP do not have security of tenure, his insecurity in his office can translate to insecurity in the country.
Very well.
And that is where we have gotten to as a nation.
Sure.
You see, David Asante Pietu, the former Inspector General of Police, he was the 3rd IGP as served as Executive Secretary. I served Mr. Paul Tawiakwe, a fine gentleman. I served Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hassan, an experienced person with all international touch. And I served Mr. David Asante Pietu, who is an expert when it comes to crime. Okay? But what Mr. David Asante Pietu did was to agree with all the past IGP's attempt to reform the system and say, let's do a holistic transformation. I was so sad that people do not understand. With my background, it's not everything that I can tell you on air. But if you meet me one-on-one, I am telling you probably Mr. David Asante Pietu would have been the IGP who would stay until they're begging him to stay and you say, it's enough, I want to go home. Because he has a long-term vision of 10 years to transform the Ghana Police Service to take its rightful place in our democratic setting. But we are in a hurry. We don't understand. We politicize everything. We bastardize everything. We are where we are today.
Very well.
Insecurity is rising.
Yes, thanks.
Nobody should say we are in a state of insecurity, but insecurity is rising and it's getting worse by the day. Let's be careful and let's be honest as a people. Let's treat it as a national challenge and don't play partisan politics with security.
Very well. Thanks for that, Honorable. We'll be coming back to you shortly. Adib, obviously, the challenge we have here is, resourcing the police, getting the system reformed, and eventually making the military, if you like, irrelevant within the civilian space. Until then, there'll be some quote-unquote relevance for them to come in. How do we get them to be irrelevant until they are really needed? And the bit about political influence is coming up. I want to know your views on that.
Well, I think that recent actions seek to, by default, downgrade the police as a pretext to bringing in the military based on the fact that the police cannot do the work. But what we're succeeding in doing is civilianizing and cheapening the military. I mean, it is quite shocking that these days you see military men providing security, personal security, to persons who are not the president or the vice president or the minister of defense. That is worrying.
Problematic, yeah.
And I think that as part of the whole transformational agenda, there's the need to harness, to engender some level of trust between the security services and the general population. I mean, there's a plethora of reasons why we're here today. I mean, apart from the rising sense of mistrust and lack of confidence in the ability of the security services to deliver, we also have a major problem with politicization of the security services, particularly the police. I don't have any problem with the president appointing the IGP. However, there's the need for some level of security of tenure. It all also boils down to the IGP's principles. I mean, when President Trump appointed John Bolton as his national security advisor, at a point they disagreed on some sticking points with reference to the Trump's administration engagement with North Korea, his stance on Iran and other places. So John Bolton at the point said, no, I think, Mr. President, with all due respect, you're going one direction, I'm going a different direction. So, I mean, let me honorably resign. Unfortunately, here is a different story altogether. At the point, I said something on radio. I said that if the first police officer rises to the occasion and tells that honorable who calls to tell him that these are my boys, let them go, even though they did the wrong thing, and says, no, honorable, interfering in an active criminal case in itself criminal. And another one rises to the occasion, and another one, at the point politicians would learn to keep their hands off the work of the police service. You know, I had a number of police friends calling to tell me, my brother, why are you going to feed my family? You're asking me to say no to a politician, so I enter his dark books. So we really need to work towards that. And I think that we should go beyond, like my good brother rightly mentioned, beyond the presentation amid pomp and pageantry, live media broadcast of pickups and other vehicles to the police, and deal with the fundamental issues. Capacity building is key. And it was during the George Floyd trial that I got to realize that there's no officer within that area who would go 1 year straight without any form of training. They are trained, they are retrained, and I was speaking with a sergeant friend of mine within the police service, and she told me that, can you believe we went for a training and we were taught how to salute and how to obey barracks rules when we know security is changing by the day. Yesterday's insecurity is not as today. Now we're dealing with a complex web.
Resolve security issues, really.
I mean, you know, we're dealing with a complex web of advanced, you know, crime, you know, transnational crime. Now we're dealing with the issue of terrorism. Are we positioning, especially the police, to be able to counter these threats? So I think we should go beyond the politics and address the issues. There is absolutely no doubt that there is growing sense of insecurity. It is not safe to say there is insecurity, but there's a growing sense. And mind you, in defining security, it goes beyond just safety from harm. It is about safety from the fear of harm. So even if there's security and people are worried about someone snatching their money or someone getting into their homes and robbing them, that is insecurity. And we need to take note of that.
Very well. Let's go to, you know, a development regarding the hearings or the committee's timelines for reporting. They were to have submitted their reports yesterday, the 9th, but they requested and were granted an extension of time to the 16th. I believe last week when we were talking about it, we raised the issues about the timeline, whether or not it was adequate enough for them to end. Here we are. another week added on. Your thoughts on that? Looking at the witnesses that are being, brought to the fore. Let me have Richard, and then I come to you. Yes, Richard.
It's obvious that the first mandate was inadequate, and so for me, it's only reasonable for the extension that has been granted. My prayer is that a good job is done in the end, because what's the point hastening to the wrong conclusion? So if we give them the extended period, we expect a better outcome. And for me, that's what I pray for. I see Mr. Tobu made some reference, and it's for me the crux of the issue. Our constitution, to a large extent, is a major problem. There are aspects of that constitution that need quick.
Well, the Constitution Review Committee did its work
to be expunged.
And their report is sitting on shelves.
That is where I think that the debate should be going, because there are several aspects. You see, the 1992 Constitution was drafted to suit our military history. Okay, as a military executive power where one person had it all. I think in practicing democracy for almost 30 years, we have realized it doesn't serve us well, putting too much power in the hands of one person. Okay? Yes, maybe for the sake of the Constitution being in existence and not getting overthrown like previous regimes were, there was a need to initially draft it in that format. But there are several aspects of the Constitution that has outlived its usefulness. And this is one of such of them. Because the drafting was to suit one person. But we have moved past one person. We are now a nation of some 30 million people who are thinking and doing things in a particular way, where brute force should not have room in our democratic dispensation. So for me, that aspect needs to be looked at. Then, you see, my brother, that's a very laudable idea about the policeman refusing the phone call from me that these are my boys, so let them go. The last time a prominent police officer did that, Aoune, of blessed memory, the next day he found himself relocated. These are the issues. The reality of it is that the system has been structured to suit one or two people, and there's virtually nothing you can do about it. We have a paternalistic governance structure that we have put in place, and it's like one person is up there hanging fruits to all of us, and we are grateful for that. Until that structure is remodeled, we are going to be suffering this, I'm telling you.
Thanks for that. Honorable Tobu, we have just about, I think, 4 minutes to go. I'll split, try to get around all of you. But let's speak to this. There's this very important issue coming up. Carcass family have refused an invitation to appear before the committee to give their evidence. Now, how worrying is this, or it can affect the work of the committee? Do you think it takes away from the committee's work?
Thank you very much. I think that when the president directed the Minister of Interior to set up this ministerial committee, some of us came and said, no, Mr. President, in this country, when somebody dies, it is the High Court that will prosecute the matter. And there is a reason why the framers of the Constitution decided that if there are things of this nature that result in death, and you want to set up a team to investigate, it should be a presidential commission of inquiry with the status of a High Court. There is a comparable reason for that. The president decided to lower it to the establishment of a committee. Let's assume many of the people it's voluntary. Many of the people have volunteered to appear. If they decide not to go, what can the committee do? What can the committee do? Nothing. Because a presidential commission can subpoena you to appear. And they could have even subpoenaed the informant to the minister, to the regional minister to appear. But the regional minister says, I am not going to disclose my informant. You know, I'm a security couple, I'm the boss. But that is how it is. This committee, I don't want to pour cold water on it. But let's wait until they come out with
But
their report.
But do you think
finally
the absence of Karker's family, given evidence, would take away anything from the committee's work?
Karker's family, in fact, is the root of all these matters. It's the death of Karker that brought all these things. And there is so much that this family can use to support the committee. If they opt out and the committee does not have any legal right to subpoena them to appear, of course, it will have a telling effect. But let me say something. Please, you see, 6 months down the line of President Nana Akufo-Addo's second term, there is no police council, but the police are working. It is telling us that even without a police council, if we have an effective police force, they can work without a council as loaded in the constitution with all the political heads. It is something that we need to be looking at.
Right. Thanks for that. Adib, lastly, on the bit about Karker's family.
Okay. Yes, it's quite worrying, because if Karker's family is not involved, I'm sorry to say, but it's going to complicate the workings of the committee. I also had issues with the process, not necessarily the persons on the committee. There are persons who have distinguished themselves in their various fields of endeavor. However, the fact that people would come and give testimonies not under oath means they can lie. We cannot hold them responsible for their actions and inactions. And I mean, that is quite worrying. But one more thing that was said by one of the officers who came around is to the effect that there seems to be a problem. The media is to blame. Also, according to him, proliferation of security analysts. And that I found quite interesting. But what is most shocking to me is Professor Antwi Danso's rationalization of that statement, because I found it as an indictment on him, because he is someone who has trained a lot of us. I mean, almost every security person, Professor Antwi Danso. He trained me back at Legon. He trained me at Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College. So if I go through the whole system, study a Master of Science degree in something in defense and international politics, and come out, what do I come out as? A tomato seller? I mean, let's be serious, for crying out loud. Everybody is blamed except them. That is quite, you know,
we wish the committee well, and we'll be looking out for, you know, the 16th of July, which is next Friday, and the submission of the report. We'd love to see what the report recommends and any other things that will come out from that. Obviously, we hope that this brings an end to, you know, all the brutalities that we have witnessed in the history of this country. But let me say a big thank you to my panelist, Adib Sani. He's a security analyst. Also, Richard Nyamba, Deputy Director of Communications with the NPP. And on Zoom, we had the Honorable Peter Tobu, NDC Member of Parliament for Wa West. Thank you so much, Honorable, and thank you so much, Adib and Richard. And thank you to you, our viewers and listeners. We appreciate your time, and thanks for spending your Saturday morning with us. We'll be back at the same time next week. Until then, stay safe and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.